Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly Imperium Master, I guess, because today we are going to be continuing our Rogue Trader campaign that we have been playing, only we are indulging in yet another war story. This time with more members of the storied House Aquare, the Rogue Trader dynasty whose adventures and fortunes and misfortunes we have been following in this campaign. But this time, instead of Rogue Trader and instead of Wrath and Glory that we recently played, we are playing yet another Warhammer 40K RPG, and that is Cubicle 7's excellent Imperium Maledictum. This is the most recent of the 40K games that they have released. It is a interesting iteration on the same D100 system that they've had for, or that was used for the Fantasy Flight games, so we are really looking forward to trying this one out. But enough of me yapping. Let me introduce you to the stars of today's session that we're calling, this adventure, Lonely is the Hunter. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing tonight. First up, we've got James.
All right, I'm James, and I'm playing Octavia Aquari, the far more attractive and charming member of the Aquari family than we've met so far.
Nice. And next up is Sean.
And I'm playing Icarus, a mystic. It's a member of the Scala Progenium. He's a looker.
He is. Sanctioned Psyker, and not enslaved necessarily, but indentured to House Aquare. And last, but certainly not least, is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and tonight I'm going to be playing Armsman Noros, who is just here to shoot people. Or
nice. Yeah, we
whatever. Whatever he's told to aim at, basically.
Well, I don't want to pre-doom him, Jeff, but most every armsman that we have seen in this campaign employed by House Aquari has come to a pretty grisly end, so I'm sure it's true. You're due time to catch a break here.
And Jeff normally has airsoft guns, right?
Yeah, it's true. I don't want you to feel overpowered here, Jeff, but you don't actually have the worst gun in the game for your character this time.
Wow, that is impressive.
So our adventure takes place, for those who may be following the overall arc of our Rogue Trader campaign, shortly after the events of our Wrath and Glory adventure that we called Hands of the House. That adventure saw a sanctioned psyker named, it was not Nissa. What was, do you remember where I got it written down. I thought about this ahead of time. I knew Desura. I knew I'd fucking forget it on under pressure. It was another member of the Aquari family, Ignatius Aquari, and his sidekick / psyker Desura, along with a medic, technically a what do they call it?
Death Corps.
Say again?
Death Corps?
Yeah, no, the Quartermaster is. I was trying to remember what the Death Corps calls their medics. Quartermaster, Dr. Klaus, and then a bit of an unusual ally who showed up right the last second to help you guys with that. An Eldar from the Twilight Swords faction of Eldar Corsairs. Now, the last adventure saw our other members of the house. They defeated what was a gene stealer infestation in a fairly important imperial part of the ecclesiarchy, a monastery called Hephaestium's Rest that was elsewhere in the system where Footfall is located. And in where we're picking up is shortly afterwards. And we are back on Footfall. Now, none of your characters have necessarily worked with one another. You may be aware of one another being members of the household, but House Aquare, I want you guys to brace yourself for this revelation, is a bit disorganized. House Aquare has had agents slowly arriving through the Maw. Part of it is because the House of Quarry has not had a presence in the Coronis Expanse for some time. But that is not to say that the House of Quarry has not had a presence in the Coronis Expanse beforehand. Octavia, you are a sub-factotum. You are not necessarily the person who is in charge when, the Lord Captain, Cornelia Quarry, is off gallivanting in the Mortis Probati, his vessel that he takes to ply his fortune. But given how small the presence is here at this time, you definitely... You have a bigger portfolio of things to deal with than perhaps what someone in your position might do otherwise. Footfall also is... I found this illustration that is apparently from the game in it, which I think does a fucking great job of giving some sense of where some of the places are. You here, Octavia, you are relatively recently arrived in the Coronis Expanse of having come from Port Wander on the far side of the Maw. Icarus, likewise, you have been perhaps seconded to do something else within the actual house itself, and now you found yourself being reassigned. And Armsman Noros, you are part of the armed presence here that has been garrisoning this facility that Factotum Ignatius Quarry had secured. This is picking up about maybe 2-3 weeks after the events of at the Hephaestium's Rest Monastery. And where it finds our three heroes is the three of you standing in the... Well, you are in, I don't know if you are standing, but you are in the kind of the big boardroom that we've seen before, where Ignatius met with the members of the Ecclesiarchy who wanted to donate that bone, the thigh bone of Saint Hephaestium, which incidentally now hangs proudly within this as a sign of imperial favor. Mm. There has been, however, some downside. One of the things that you found is that, I guess the upside is that you have all heard that Lord Captain Cornelia Quarry did manage to find his ancestor's ship. So great news there. The downside is that he did not recover the ship, and he did not seem to recover much from it. He also seems to have run afoul, well and truly, of a member of the House Fell dynasty. You guys may remember your good friend Haderach Fell, the Lord Captain of the Fell Hand. And the other thing is due to some bit of ill fortune, the Mortis Probati has been caught in a swell in the warp and is not expected to be back for another 240 days or so. It does seem that what you've heard, Haderach Fell, or at least the people who are aboard the Fell Hand, did not run into those issues, and they will be back much sooner. Given that House of Quarry is relatively recently returned to this region, and given that House Fell has had a presence here for quite some time and has a very scary pirate-esque captain who seems to lead the dynasty here, perhaps it's time to make some friends among those you can and have some increase the house's standing so you can rely on your name when Haderach Fell returns. Footfall, you have come to learn, does have a form of, I wouldn't call it governance, but there is someone, if there is said to be someone in charge, that would be the Liege. And the Liege is named Liege Tanthus Moros. I'm not going to bother putting that in chat because the likelihood of you seeing Liege Tanthus Moros is quite low. Not because of any fault on your part, largely because so long as the bribes rolled into him, doesn't really matter. What you've heard is he is a pursuer of hedonism to such a degree that he has transformed so much of his body, thanks to Mechanicus assistance, into something that is simply devoted towards the most basic levels of pleasure, that his cybernetic form would take up the size of perhaps not quite a rhino from the Adeptus Astartes, but close to that size. That is a tank, Jeff. His body has been changed over to be nearly the size of a tank.
Oh, wow.
Yes. There are other factions that definitely are at play here, including a number of other houses. But Octavia, you are too new here to know what your place is. You truly have not been thrown into things as of yet. It seems like there's a great deal of possibility and a lot of activity here in Footfall. I will tell you that the places that you can see on this area here that matter, or this this map here, the atrium here. The atrium is where the moneyed people live. It might as well be a small hive city but not in the grimy kind of way. It is something that is where all the administrative stuff that has any kind of standing is located. It is probably where most trader houses or dynasties would locate their supplies if they have their say, and all the relatively safe places to socialize and whatnot would be found there. Where you guys, Jeff and James, had met up with that information broker, that would have been in the atrium.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. The Shadow Quarters is where the riffraff live. That is the Mos Eisley of the of Footfall, of the first stop off in here. It is not where working class folk live. That's actually not on this map. Working class folk live in the Hab Fanes. And when I say working class folk, of course, I mean like a step above a servitor. You know, instead of a robo-zombie, you are a working person and living. Well, then you live in the Hab Fanes, which are not on this map because they're spread across a couple of different places. Martyr's Endurance is the name of a old administratum vessel that has been it broke down and then was just incorporated into part of Footfall. That's where you go if you are riffraff and you want to socialize. So if you want to be highfalutin, you're going to be in the atrium. If you're looking for trouble, you go to the Shadow Quarter. If you're looking for trouble and fun, you go to Martyr's Endurance. And then Void Rock Alpha Row is where the docks are. One of the docks. There's many different places around Footfall to kind of dock. This is the largest, which makes it both the most active, the most dangerous, and the most important part of the entire city. That's where, if you could stay in Void Rock Alpha Row, but if going to the Shadow Quarters is kind of taking a walk on the wild side, Void Rock Alpha Row is kind of running with the bulls 24/7. Only the bulls have, they're jacked up on, narcochem, and they have cybernetic enhancements, and some of them may also have sworn their souls to dark chaos agents. So your choice as to where you want to go. I mentioned all of this because I'd like to know when you were thinking of where you picked your headquarters, Jeff. Would you have picked a place in the atrium, or would you have picked a place in the Shadow Quarters? The atrium is where you would be if you have standing. The Shadow Quarters is where you just be if you needed a place to operate out of and didn't care about how important or how posh things looked. I think I would have chose the atrium.
Okay. All right, sorry, I would have chose the Shadow Quarters personally, but because of what I think that the House of Quare is trying to do here, I would definitely choose the atrium.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a I'll drop your character in because Ignatius does play a role. And for those who did not, who have not seen the Wrath and Glory sessions, I don't want you to feel left out here. Now, where are you? Okay. What you know is that the three of you, just while I'm looking here, the three of you have been summoned here by Factotum Ignatius Aquare. Octavia, you... well, let me ask you this. What do each of your characters... What assumptions do you make about that?
I don't think she would have called me.
He. Ignatius is a he.
I don't think he would have called me unless I wouldn't. I'm not someone you call for casual purposes. So, I mean, I'm a looker, but besides that,
I mean, this face clearly doesn't get out of bed for less than 10,000 crones. Or what are they? Crowns? Thrones?
Folks do not crave my company other than for business. So, and that is fine with me.
Okay. So you're assuming there's something that is going on. What about Noros and Octavia?
I mean, I would think that someone needs to be dealt with. You know, there's someone to shoot. I'm clearly here to shoot someone. You know, I don't know if it's an assassination or a street fight or what, but clearly that's got to be why I'm here.
Am I correct in thinking that Octavia would have been the first to arrive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Swing on in.
So what about Octavia? What was she thinking that this was about?
There's no doubt a chance to improve one's influence.
Okay.
Make a step up the ladder, the greasy pole.
Okay. So then, Octavia, what... if you were the first that is here, I guess who is the second to arrive?
I don't think I'm unlikely to be tardy. I'm not a partier. I'm a I don't know what I am, but I'm not a partier.
I feel like you're like going into a what do you call Steve Miller Band song here? I'm not a partier. I'm not a tardier.
So I think I'm probably on time. I'm probably not early, but I'm on time.
Here is... There you go. Sorry, guys. Okay, so you are not early, but you are on time. And what about you? So then, what about you, Noros? Are you like directly on time as well?
Yeah, like I am very punctual, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Octavia, when the door opens, I think Icarus and Noros, you both sort of arrive at the same time. Noros, you would both recognize the symbol of House Aquare, the livery of it, on each other's kind of clothes. You may have seen one another around before, but I don't think that you have spoken, one or two words to one another. I'm assuming, Noros, you'd probably be opening the door for Icarus, just because you're more likely used to being subservient to folks than what, Icarus is as well, but when the door opens to the group room, Octavia, what do Icarus and Noros see waiting for them in there with just you?
I'll be lounging back in the chair, feet on the desk, even with arms behind my legs. So.
Okay, so what you guys walk into find is a member of House Aquare, one of the family. From the way she is dressed, she has an extraordinarily nice great coat on. There is very fancy looking auto pistol at one hip and a las pistol at the other hip. And she has the casual demeanor or casual presentation you can see among those who can get away with such things.
Right.
What does Octavia see as Icarus and Noros walk in?
I think Icarus enters, steps to the side, and then stops and looks around and gives everyone a glare. Kind of glares around the room. He's I guess, probably as usual, at least among sanctioned psychers, but psychers in general, he's got quite a look to him, so you're not going to overlook, it's not like your average Joe. So you just owns it, and just lets it soak in. He looks around, anyone to glower at.
Okay.
Anyone staring gets a glower. And then so it takes a moment as he does for that, and then lays eyes.
It sounds like you see the most psyker of psychers walk in.
Yeah.
And what about Noros?
I think Noros is all business for something like this, and so you definitely see him show up, heavily armed, assuming that's what he's here for, and not like a stern look on his face, but he certainly doesn't look friendly.
Okay. Would you say focused?
Yeah, focused is probably a good descriptor.
Okay. Just putting some names down just in the event. I know you guys know the names, but for those listening at home, in case they do not know who these characters are. All right. So with them coming in, what is Icarus is still standing and kind of seeming to be, unsettling the way that psychers can sometimes be. What about Noros? What does he do, having seen a member of the household that he serves?
He probably would give a nod and come over. Is there more seats then?
Definitely.
Yeah, he would, stow his weapons in some way in the room that is accessible but not at the table, and then come over and sit down.
Okay. So Noros is set down in his full kind of, armor and whatnot. The psychic is still kind of lurking by the door. Octavia, you need not make a roll to determine, neither of these people are the ones who summoned you here.
No.
Do you do or say anything while you're waiting?
No, I think I'll just polish my nails a little bit more while I keep looking at the door to see when someone of import turns up.
Okay. You need not wait too long. It's about 5 more minutes of silence when the door opens by one of the household retainers, and in walks Factotum Ignatius Aquare, accompanied by his ever-present not sidekick but his ever-present companion Desura, another psyker. And the contrast between Icarus and Desura is marked because while Icarus is, why don't you describe for us first, James, what do we see when Desura walks in?
She's a little bit more on the elegant side. She's got the big flowing brown hair, and with the only thing that is slightly disturbing about her is the slightly glowing eyes, which puts people off sometimes, but that can sort of flicker on and off a little as well. So she sort of sachets in a bit. She's a bit more in the style of Octavia, Yeah. Me being a one-note role player.
Nothing wrong with that. If it ain't broke. And then Jeff, what do we see as Ignatius walks in?
He is probably feeling pretty important at the moment. Like you said, the thigh bone is now proudly hanging, and so he's feeling pretty good. So he's probably got a smug grin on his face, and has his duds nicely cleaned up. And
What, if anything, does Octavia do when when Ignatius walks in? She remain where she is, or
no? She'll languidly stand up, get the feet off the desk and step up and say, Ignatius, how are you?
And what does he say? Jeff? I'm going to minimize the amount I'm role-playing your characters. So.
Yeah. No, I'm just... Yeah, he's probably like, good to see you.
Still basking in your successes?
Still feeling good. Looking good, too.
Just sort of, I think perhaps, she can't see it through the glow, but there may be a bit of a rolling of eyes among the aquarius. So what, maybe just sort of gives a slight, clearing of the throat, and Ignatius, and feel free to correct anything I get wrong about the way that they would be presenting this, guys. But Ignatius says, right, there isn't much time. We have other matters that we need to deal with. Octavia, Icarus, and he gestures to the psychic, Noros. Have you done introductions thus far?
I am Icarus. I am a sanctioned psyker at your service.
Yes, Icarus. I just pointed at you and told you your name. Thank you. In spite of his appearance, Octavia, he comes and he looks at Desorda. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. And this gestures at Noros, one of our most reliable armsmen. You can depend on him to have your life in your hands. And Icarus, I'm told, is a gifted telepath. All of this will be of value to you because I have a task that needs doing. And he looks at the Sura, gestures like, do we have time to sit? And you nod. He sits down and encourages you all to sit down. Before you see it, he gets going in what he's talking about. He says, Octavia, Icarus, Noros, I take it that you have heard the events that I and my companions became involved in recently. The circumstances at Hephaestium's Rest.
Yes. Very interesting.
Interesting indeed. In the interest of amity with the ecclesiarchy, we have refrained from letting much of the story of what actually happened there go beyond our household and those who need to be in the know. As you can imagine, word of a gene stealer infiltration here not only would bring the Ordo Xenos down on us, but the Death Watch in all likelihood as well. And Octavia, I don't know how much you have learned about the trade here. Are you familiar with the cold trade? Why don't you give us an easy... Let's see here. An easy lore check, please. Octavia?
Let's find that.
And I'm going to give you a plus one success level because of your influence as well. Influence doesn't quite work that way in this game, but just your background as a rogue trader is likely going to apply. So the difficulty will be the third thing it asks you about. Look at that. Nice. All right. 2 success levels plus 1 more for your rogue trader thing. So the cold trade, James, is the trade of Xenos tech from the Coronis Expanse out into the Kalestic sector and then out to elsewhere in the Imperium. It is the most lucrative trade in the Coronis Expanse, and it all comes through footfall. So knowing that, you can perhaps understand why the folks who have made their living here may not be crazy to see the Death Watch or the Ordo Xenos of the Inquisition show up and start poking their nose around trying to learn about different Xenos things.
Yep.
So we have kept that. However, we have now the Xenos, like our psychers, make use of astropaths to communicate over long distances, but they do make use of technology over short distances. And we are certain that they were communicating with someone else here, and the ship that they used to access Hephaestium's Rest, it was supplied to them by someone here. Now, I don't know. You have no doubt heard the news of the delay that we expect with the Mortis Probati. We have nearly the better part of a year before she will make port at Footfall once again. And while the Aquare dynasty has a long and storied history here, we have not had a presence of significance in here for centuries. We are coasting on that name. I'm not sure how well you recall your dynastic history, Octavia, but do you know the first of the Aquare who came here, who came to the Coronis Expanse? You can give us another lore check, and I'll let you pick the difficulty based on what you think, how much into like dynasty lore or family, prestige that you think that she would have gone into. I'll leave that in your hands. And there's no such thing as too much. If you really feel like she would know it backwards and forwards, feel free to give yourself.
Nice. Oh, she knows which way her bread is buttered, and you need to know who's connected to who and who's descended from who.
Absolutely. Okay, so then
sloppy not to know such things.
Then you of course that the first Aquare to come to the Cronus Expanse is where did I put it? Here we go. Is of course the not only Lord Captain but Lord Inquisitor. It is Corbus, Lord Inquisitor and Lord Captain Corbus Aquare. He first came here little more than 600 years ago. Not only a member of, not necessarily the Ordo Xenos, although I don't, with a success level of 1, I don't think you remember that. But you do remember that he was both a member of the Inquisition and a rogue captain. And by all accounts, an absolute fucking bastard. Like the raising planets kind of bastard. So that's what you would know. So when he asks you, are you aware of the lineage of the or the history of the Aquare in the Expanse?
Absolutely, dear Chris. Well versed in his history. Quite the charmer, I hear.
Perhaps you can appreciate then why while the Aquare, how the dynasty has not had a presence in the Expanse for quite some time, the name is remembered by all. And given that there may be a persisting threat here on Footfall related to that Xenos threat that we found at Hephaestium's Rest, it would bolster our name and call back to the history of the dynasty if we were to expose and exterminate whatever lingering threat there is in Footfall. A reminder of the legacy of Corbus Aquare.
Inquisitorial, practically.
But with a more flexible and perhaps more subtle approach than might be necessary, you will find, Octavia, that discretion is of great value here.
I feel that from my studies, nothing we can do would be less subtle than our dear ancestor. So,
it would. The name of Corvus Aquare is remembered by all here. It would be beneficial to the house's current circumstances to remind those, particularly those who would see themselves as able to harm us, to remind them who we are, even in our Lord Captain's absence.
Very good, very good.
I have... I don't know whether you've had an opportunity to make any contacts of your own, but I have had the good fortune through a contact who looks over at the store that we made in another household. We have been directed towards a potentially useful asset or potential ally. Tell me, do you know the name Lord Captain Geraldine Blitz? And you can give us this one. I think because you're new here, this is probably going to be challenging, but it'll be a challenging lore check. Icarus and Noros, you can feel free to give us a I think an easy lore check for each of you, if you'd like.
Just based on the fact that we've been here,
that you've been here, yeah.
Okay.
This person has a bit of a reputation, so there's a chance you may have heard them. Heard of them,
No, indeed, I recall nothing as such.
Okay. So see if Icarus and Noros have any recollection.
Sorry, easy, right? You said
at easy, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 success levels for... So you don't know, but Icarus somehow has heard this. So Icarus, I hope you appreciate... As the... So here's what you've heard about the Captain... Geraldine Blitz is the captain of... The Lord Captain of the trading vessel, the Ordained Destiny. And the reason that you may have heard of her, Icarus, is because she is the only rogue trader that you've ever heard of that has a warrant of trade that they won in a card game.
Oh.
There was a sector lord who apparently got in a high stakes game with her and gave that up as a stake and then lost to her. So she is not someone who is from a dynasty. She is not someone who is from... With 5 success levels, I'll give you a fair bit too. The other thing you know is you've heard that... well, let me ask you this, Jeff. If Ignatius is given the opportunity to wine and dine with a bunch of the real highfalutin members of other rogue trader families, or if he's able to go and slam back some Amasek with a bunch of dock workers that might end up in a fight, which of the two would he prefer?
The dock workers, for sure.
So that is, Icarus, what you've heard of Factotum Ignatius. That is also what you've heard of Lord Captain Jerry Blitz. She's a card sharp and all around kind of troublemaker, freebooter, and apparently quite involved in the cold trade. It makes sense in your mind, Icarus, that Ignatius met up with this Lord Captain.
Yeah.
And if Ignatius has a pause in there, I'll say, I have heard of this one.
He looks over. Oh, Icarus, what have you heard?
Of a high-stakes card game.
You can see he gets a bit of a smile on his face and he says, it's not a rumor. It's true.
That Blitz prevailed in.
Blitz prevailed in it, and her Her warrant of trade is no less of value than any other rogue trader who has the fortune of the God Emperor of mankind to carry such a thing. But she didn't come through it by dynastic inheritance. She came through it by fortune and some would say skill. That puts her in a position where she does not have ready allies the way that others do. I suspect she wishes to ally herself and enjoy some of the what comes from associating with the Aquare name. Octavia, I don't know what she wishes, but she has agreed to meet and assist in this. We have come to an accord. And I trust that you will exercise judgment to see what she can offer and then find the source of the whatever lingering presence there may be. And from what I've been assured that they likely have some infestation left here. Find that, root it out, and bring glory to our name, because it may be the only thing that shields us from our enemies until the Lord Captain returns.
Very well. We shall do this. You, Icarus, Answer Norris, you seem well informed, well connected. Let's go do this.
He looks over at Desura. You see? I knew they could. So, and then I'll cede control. What do Ignatius and Desura say before they leave, if anything?
I think Ignatius would just say to Octavia, you know, I hope you enjoy it here as much as I am, and he winks at her.
And I think it's Icarus, don't let the side down.
And then Desura, does she do or say anything?
Well, that was Desura.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was
sorry,
Desura.
Saying
Okay.
Icarus,
Yeah.
don't let the side down.
Yeah.
All right. So then Desura and Ignatius depart, leaving the three of you behind. What do you guys wish to do?
What's the plan, boss?
Where shall we start?
Well, you've got a good inkling about this trader. Where would you suggest we start? Where do you think she'll be lingering at this time of the day? Up here in the atrium, or somewhere more shady?
So it's interesting that she phrased it that way, Icarus. For whatever reason, what you've heard is there is, for one, she seems to favor a very particular establishment that is in the Martyr's Endurance. That place is called Adeptus Amacicus. It is a converted bar where they serve bows and and other illicit substances. It is a think of honestly, Jeff, you know what it reminds me of is, remember when there used to be like beer socials or like Oktoberfest at the convention center? These massive, so big high ceilings and any kind of like beer hall or something like that, guys. That's what you can picture Adeptus Amacicus to be like. It is a place to go and get libations. Icarus, that's where you've heard that she can be found.
The Adeptus Amacicus would be, I would say, where we should start.
Hey, Noros, you've heard of that place, and this is kind of like, your square friend knowing where the like dive bar in the back of an alley where you need a password to get into is located.
And I give it's Noros. That's right. That's how you say it.
Noros, yeah.
I give Noros a disquieting wink.
Okay.
Unexpected disquieting wink.
Yeah.
Right, let's go then.
I pick up my weapons and strap them back on.
Okay. One of the things that we haven't talked about the interior of Footfall in greater detail to date has been how big things are on the inside. And I thought I would just quickly share with you. I can't remember if I think I did load this. Hold up.
Big? That's not very Warhammer 40K.
Yeah. No. Okay, where are we here? So this is an idea of what what entering or leaving the atrium would be like. So let me bring you guys over here. Everything is in the extreme in any of the Imperial occupied areas. So that would be the more, accommodating or affluent areas. The less affluent areas and getting around the area around the was it Honor's Rest? Honor's Rest? I can't remember what it's called. I've already forgotten the name of the ship. This is what you can expect much of the rest of Footfall to be like. So do I have your tokens? I do. Look at that, guys. Fantastic. So you are having to make your way around the towards the. I need to refresh my memory on what the name of that thing is because I didn't write that down. The Martyr's Endurance. Hold on. Now, as you are making your way along, would you guys kindly give us an awareness sight check. So if you've got sight, use that specialty. If not, please just awareness. And this will be at challenging because it is a contested roll.
There's a lot of clicks on the. So you said difficult?
Challenging.
Oh,
so
challenging,
zero
sorry.
modifier.
Zero.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, now that, I believe, is a crit.
Oh, it's the doubles.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's doubles that. I'm going to double check here.
interesting.
So it works in 40.
I like doubles. They're good.
Yeah.
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 It's my favourite way of doing a crit.
Let's see here. Oh, I may have misspoke here, guys. Let's see. Tests.
I feel like I haven't rolled a crit in any game we played for a very long time. Other than crit fails.
That was November 22, right?
I am very sorry, Jeff. That is not. I have completely misremembered. I'm so sorry.
Sad. I still have not. One day I'll get you, roll 20.
Here, critical is 215.
Oh, that's only combat, Kevin?
I'm just double checking here. I don't even know if it's in combat. Let's see here. Critical hit.
Because I'm looking at criticals and failures on page 213. When you roll doubles on a melee or range test with positive SL, you score a critical.
When you critical.
But that's combat.
Hold on. If you score a critical on your attack test.
Right.
So let's see here. Criticals and fumbles. Here we go. Yeah, critical and fumbles. Oh, only in combat.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's on page 213.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ignore me. So sorry, Jeff. Success level 0.
Wow, the GM just teased the hell out of you, Jeff.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Take it away.
Unbelievable.
So what I can tell you, though, that Icarus, you can feel that as you are making your way, across down into the shadow quarters, making your way through to get towards Martyr's Endurance. And there are tons of crowds. Like the places here are huge. One thing that is not obviously on display here, the giant chaos symbols. You can ignore those. Those are not hanging as, Guys, should we be concerned about this?
Right.
That's a bonus.
And it's also just full of people, right? Like there's just tons of people who are constantly, filling up here. But Icarus, you certainly have the feeling that someone is following you. And this is before you reach the Martyr's Endurance. So even before you get into the converted vessel that will, where you'll be looking for the Adeptus Masochus.
It might be time for the first power. I'm thinking about it. Soul Sight is not completely off target with this situation. I'm thinking. Let's see.
Okay, let's see here. So Soul Sight. Let's see what it does. Because remember, you are surrounded by other strangers as well.
That's true. Although it, let's see what kind of, because it. If I recall correctly, they're hard to tell I'm casting unless it's an overt power.
Well, it's less that, and it's more the when you are getting rid of your warp charge.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But let's see here. Soul Sight is standard power. It's not one of the other ones. Here we go.
So on page 170.
Mm-hmm. So you can sense the presence of living creatures. How do you see that being helpful?
Well, I was just trying to get a map of who's around us. I mean, if we're crowded,
you already know that you're being followed. You just have not yet found out who.
Gotcha.
I just don't see that as necessarily helping with us identify any specific person, unless you had some stratagem in mind. You clever psyker, you.
Yeah. I will say Octavia, we seem to have an uninvited member of the party. They're behind us somewhere back there.
Noros, keep your eyes out, please.
Should I take up a position and wait to see who follows you?
Oh, terrible idea.
Good idea.
Each of you has a like a Vox bud, so you can communicate with each other as if you had radio comm unit. So why don't we do this?
Yeah, like I can attempt to secret myself into some I think alcove or
sure, yeah. So I think that I'm just trying to find here. I think that assistance just grants advantage on a roll. Oh, it's really streamlined in this as far as getting help.
That's
here we
pretty
go.
Cool.
Yeah, person with the highest skill makes the test with advantage.
Nice.
Yeah. To assess someone, you must usually have at least one advance in the skill being tested. That's the skill, not the thing. But in this case, so first off, Noros, would you give us a stealth check, please? I think it's stealth.
Yeah.
And I think given the prevailing circumstances, you can make that at... Make it routine. Oh no, it's good. Sorry, it's a contested roll. I'm going to give you +2 success levels to it, so just make it that challenging.
Okay.
But it's a contested roll, Jeff. So the way it works is we compare success levels, whether they're positive or negative.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I rolled mine. And your stealth with 2, but I'm giving you +2 success levels. So that is 4 success levels. All right. So Noros, you peel off, and then who is... You guys are in communication with each other. Which of you guys has the highest awareness?
I think that's Icarus.
Octavia's got
awareness is
41.
I'm 46.
Icarus got 46, and Noros is at 35. So why don't Icarus? Why don't you give us an awareness check with advantage, please?
All right.
Challenging.
First advantage that I am checking off here. So just +0 advantage, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then no other modifiers.
All right. Interesting.
So that's a fail, or well, -2 success level, or a -5. So,
Yep.
because let me see what. Actually, didn't roll.
That's cool
great
that
either.
the roll takes care of the reverse.
It's nice. Like there's, I was complaining about some aspects of the sheet. There's some other stuff about it that I really do like, and I like that it prompts for all those modifiers. It saves me asking, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Would you like to spend a fate point and re-roll that?
Oh, sure. Let's get the first one spent.
Can't be the same
You
circumstances.
get them every session? Is that right?
Start every session. That's correct.
Okay.
You can also burn fate permanently to do some special stuff.
Ooh, no.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So you are unfortunately not able to spy this person, but Noros, why don't you give us an... Because I'm assuming you're really paying attention here. Why don't you give us an awareness check with advantage as well? This would be the circumstantial benefit.
Okay, so just a challenging?
Yes, challenging with advantage.
Did I screw this up? Oh, wait, I did. I screwed it up.
Yeah.
Awareness was the first
First
question?
option, yeah.
Yeah, advantage. There we go. There. Okay.
Nice. So that's a success.
Oh, right. I see. Right. Because, it flips it.
So what you see walking past is an individual who looks like... Let's see.
Guess I was busy looking marvelous, so I didn't notice.
some hair flicks.
Are you using that mirror to look behind you? That's so clever.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm using it for. This is what the person looks like.
Oh.
And I mean, there's all sorts of weirdos that make up Footfall. So, but this
They
particular
don't
one,
appear to be carrying any weapons that I can see.
it's tough to tell.
melter guns.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us here, because you did get a 0 success level, so you sort of like you did spy them.
It's kind of, it's, I think I know who it is, but I didn't really catch much. Yeah.
Why don't you give us a this is a challenging lore check,
Okay.
because I know you're not
Challenging lore.
from here. There might be something you know about this. Let's just let the dice determine whether that is the case or not.
No.
I know you could fate point that and re-roll if you like.
Yeah. Let's fate.
Because I do notice that it seems like this is a little similar to Warhammer Fantasy, where it has an outcomes table with the astounding successes and the astounding failures.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you don't know who this person is, and it's from your roll from before, you can't tell whether they're armed. So you can communicate freely back to Icarus and Octavia as they're walking along. This person seems to be walking behind them.
Yeah. Hooded person. Lightly armored. Can't tell if they're armed. Possibly wearing a mask.
Icarus, with that description, you can give us a difficult lore check. Because you can't see the person, and because that could be God, like a member of the ecclesiarchy. It could be, there is a hefty presence of the Drusians, the followers of St. Drusus here. There is the Mechanicus. They also are robed with masks. So let's see how you do, Icarus.
Close.
It's pretty close, yeah. So the name rings a bell, but you don't remember You can't think of who that might be. There's just too many possibilities. What do you guys do? You can picture, you've seen this has happened, and this person is disappearing in the crowd ahead. They're still following Octavia and Icarus.
Yeah. Do you want me to follow? Do you want me to stay behind them?
Yes, indeed. Trail them.
Yeah. So I'll sort of attempt to follow them, following my guys.
Sure. You already rolled quite well with your stealth, so I'll let you just roll that forward, and you start, carrying on and walking behind them. You guys make your way into the Martyr's Endurance, and it's odd because going from like a modified or hollowed out asteroid to then walk into a like gutted and rearranged like starship, it's unusual. And forgive me for having to use some stuff from the video game, but I think this does such a great job of giving a sense of the place that I really couldn't resist. So this is the Adeptus Amacicus. The reason I think it's funny is I mentioned before we went live, there's a joke that didn't make sense to me until I was listening to Xenos before the session. Amasec is a common liquor among the 40K universe. And so this is, instead of being the Adeptus, whatever the fuck that was before, it is the Adeptus Booze. That is the name of the bar, the Adeptus Amacicus. So
interesting.
It is very busy. And what you can see is that as Octavia and Icarus walk in, there's that kind of like really loud white noise that just hums over a place with these high ceilings, and everything is metal in here too, so there's like no give in any of stuff, like nothing's absorbing the sound, it's all reflecting back, so it's fucking white noise, and you hear like a high-pitched or a loud voice that kind of carries over the other ones and then back down again. But it's very, very busy. The tables seem to be spread, kind of helter-skelter all over the place. As you can see, some people are drinking around what seems to be some kind of fuel drums of some kind, or at least liquid drums. And it's very, very busy. You guys are communicating still as you go in. You can see that Noros, this guy, I am going to get you to make another awareness sight check against challenging, please, because this guy is going to try and hide.
Is awareness sight a different skill, or
sight is just a specialty? If you have the specialty, you get to roll that. Like you know how you've got ranged long arms. I'll say ranged long arms. You use ranged unless you've got long arms. If you got long arms, you're better at that than what you are at the base skill always.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry, what did you say?
This one would be challenging. This is contested.
Challenging. Yeah. Okay. Challenging. Oh, right. He's trying to disappear from my view.
Yeah. I'm going to give you +2 success levels just because you've been following him on this. So that'll be 2 success levels net. And do I have any? Okay, I only got 1. So he is they are incredibly well hidden. The passersby would not notice this robed figure going, but you know precisely where they are. They seem to be positioned in a place that has a clear line of sight into where your allies are.
Yeah, okay.
What do you say?
They've taken up a position to watch you. You want me to approach them?
You just keep an
eye
for the second, maybe.
I'll stay where I am then.
Okay. So you take up position outside as well, Noros, as surreptitious as you can be, and they remain hidden. Now, inside the Adeptus Amacicus, Octavia and Icarus, because there's a lot of people here. There's a bit of a, you know, there's a lot of chaotic thoughts that are just kind of, it's almost like being on the inside of a tin-roofed structure in heavy rain. There's that kind of constant patter at the outside, the outside of your senses.
These chattery psychic candles surround me.
Icarus is muttering. You can barely hear what he's saying over the sound of things.
I'm totally fucking muttering.
Absolutely, yeah.
I lean
speak up, man, if you've got something to say.
And then I go right into your ear uncomfortably. It's almost moist. And I say, let me know if you'd like me to try to penetrate his mind. I'll take a peek if you wish it.
How revolting. Go ahead if it pleases you.
He might not even know.
Well, Icarus hasn't seen him though, so.
Well, I'm just speaking in general.
Because
okay. We heard over the bud,
Yeah.
the Vox speed. So that's my.
Okay. So what would you guys like to do? You're standing in the entrance to this very, very full bar. Icarus, if this is the kind of place that Factotum Ignatius, if you were to guess where he would like to, wet his whistle, this is absolutely the place you would imagine he would.
Of Blitz? Or...
Blitz, yeah. So if you'd like to take a look, you guys can give us an awareness. How are you planning on looking here?
Yeah, we're just going to look for where's the fancy area, the reserved seats sort of thing.
Yeah,
it may absolutely not do that, but let's start there.
Yeah, and I think because you rolled 5 success levels before Icarus, you're like, oh, let's look at this stuff. Icarus, that doesn't, from what you've heard, maybe the noisiest part of the bar is a good place to start.
So
Okay.
Blitz has remained a person of the people, in a sense?
Yes, very much so.
Well, I will look for any cards. So first check is I am going table to table to see if any cards are being played.
Sure. You need not make a roll for that, because if you're looking in that direction, you very easily see someone who is quite openly displaying the symbol of a rogue trader, and she looks like this.
Nice.
And I think, of course, as you come over, that's when she puts the cards down, and the whole rest of the table is like, oh, because she has just won yet another hand of cards. And she brings all the thrones towards her. This game's not for criers. If you're gonna cry, get out of here. And you can see one of the looks like someone who probably is a ranking member of some of the officer class of some kind of trading vessel, gets up and he is crying. He is sobbing right now. She's not being mean. This, you are fairly certain, this is Lord Captain Jerry Blitz. I'll put that...
I will catch the eye when I can of Octavia. Or
Okay.
Actually, Vox speed, never mind. I mutter, I have her. I'm by the table. I describe my location.
Yeah.
I'm by the cards table.
You've got like a psi focus on the top of a staff too, so you're even in a busy place, you're still fairly easy to track.
I give the old sigh wave. Yeah.
Exactly. So you make your way over Octavia, and people are beginning to kind of they give you a bit of a look on account of what you're wearing, and as soon as the crowd parts enough for you to be seen, Octavia, Jerry look over and says, "You're getting off light then," and she pulls the thrones towards her. I've got business to deal with now. And there's kind of a half of the table is like, oh, thank God. Praise the Emperor. And the other half of the table is just like, oh, because clearly they really like Jerry. She collects the crowns. She makes eyes with you, Octavia, and she kind of gestures to the side, like as if like over in that direction.
No, so we'll head over there where she indicates.
Sure, you make your way over. You can find that there is a one of these standing tables that you can get at. Someone comes by and just sells you drinks. I don't think this is the kind of place where you if you're not going to the bar to get your own, you sort of take and pay for whatever is offered to you. So,
yep.
And as they're going by, she just snatches one off of the tray, and the waiter kind of turns around, like, oh. He kind of knows it's Jerry and lets her go, and she comes and sits down and she says, Aquare.
Indeed, Lord Captain. What?
I make the people under my command call me Lord Captain. My friends call me Jerry.
So, may I call you Jerry?
Well, I'm certainly hoping that I'll be friends with the Aquare. And the fact that Ignatius sent you down here. Now, did he bring you down the... did he send the payment for what he owes me from our game? And you can give us an awareness check if you like. This is contested.
Challenging?
Yeah, challenging. Any contested check will always be challenging.
Okay.
Just like in Warhammer
Yeah,
Fantasy.
makes sense.
She's lying and she's testing you.
Ignatius, he always pays, for all his faults, he always pays on time. So, good try though, Jerry. Good try.
You see her one cybernetic eye kind of like... And then he picked them well. So, Ignatius, or Iggy, he sent you down. What did he tell you?
He told us that there is still some remnants of the cold trade persisting here in Footfall.
God, I hope so. Emperor preserve us if that ever comes to an end.
But that there is some untoward activity going on there that we really need to perhaps root out to improve our influence amongst... Because as you say, we do not want the trade disturbed by, excessive zeal and illegal behavior.
An Aquari who is concerned about the arrival of our Emperor's exalted Inquisition. That is surprising.
We would not want them to be distracted from their higher purpose. They are overworked, and they should not trouble themselves with Footfall.
I think that is a very mature perspective on things, and I'm glad to hear that the Aquare house is so forward thinking in their thinking of such things. Tell me, Octavia, you're new to the Expanse, aren't you?
I am.
So do you know much about your house's history here?
I do indeed. I always felt that was something where, while it is difficult to get the full depth on Footfall, it is entirely within my power to study my own family. I would be remiss not to.
One of the benefits of being this side of the Maw is there's some stories that don't make their way through the Maw. some things best, when they happen in the expanse, remain in the expanse.
What happens in footfall stays in footfall, huh?
Well, except for the cold trade, of course. So you know then that the first distinguished member of the Aquare dynasty that came to the Expanse did so 680 years ago, give or take. The distinguished Lord Inquisitor and Lord Captain Corvus Aquare.
Indeed.
And did you know that he was thought dead 660 years ago? You'd heard that he'd gone missing, but I'm not sure you...
No, in our family, we just viewed him as missing rather than at the time. Unexplainedly so.
And then it's the benefit for those who are avid students of your house's history. You have the benefit of learning from oral tradition on this side of the maw. And she leans in. So then you probably heard that around 151 M41, he went missing. That's about 660 years ago, guys. Mm-hmm. But did you hear that 50 years after his disappearance, a member of his fleet, a frigate called the Elementa Vulpa, returned through the maw to Port Wander? That you did not know.
That did not know.
Well, it seems that the captain of that vessel initially had claimed that the vessels were separated when the Lord Captain and Lord Inquisitor had his fleet jump into the Rifts of Hecaton. The Rifts of Hecaton are a place you... Well, why don't you give us a... make it a challenging lore check. Please.
Can I not bring Regius? No.
Do you want a fate point then? Or do you want to shoot?
All right. Oh. Yep, so nothing there.
Okay. You're not familiar with it, which is not... It's an astrological phenomenon here. The Rifts of Hecaton are an unusually unnatural darkness in the far depths of the Cronus Expanse. Very close to the rim. Initially, the captain of this frigate claimed that he and the others jumped in, and that his ship became separated from it. On more enthusiastic questioning, he revealed that your exalted ancestor, the Lord Captain and Lord Inquisitor, was sat upon by white Xenos ships. And having driven them off into the Rifts of Hecaton, he insisted on pursuit to extinguish a threat to humanity. And with encouragement, this frigate captain admitted that he fled. And it took him 50 years to bring the ship back to Port Wander. My understanding is that he and the rest of the crew were further detained by the Ordo Xenos for questioning, which may explain why it does not occur or does not appear in your family's histories.
Well, if he was with the Order Xenos for 50 years, that must have felt a long time.
I don't know what ever became of the frigate, but cowards, they deserve nothing less. Tell me, what do you know of the Battle of Aguzia? And you need not roll. We'll just roll your last lore check forward. It's another something probably that happened here that you didn't know of.
Yep.
The Battle of Aguzia occurred roughly 60 years ago, 50 years ago. It was a time, at least in local telling, one of the most famous fleet battles. Members of several exalted dynasties, the Winterscales, the Salts, the Hellfires, the Lopan, the Lockharts, the Marner, they stood against the Amarat Union, pirates said to be in league with the Ruinous Powers, and a vicious piratical group of Eldar, Drakari, who called themselves the Cabal of Bloody Liberation.
Ooh.
It was an ambush on the fleets. The fleets were going out to face the Amarat Union, unaware of the Xenos allegiance. And they would, so the stories say, they would have been eliminated to the single ship, were it not for the sudden and late arrival of a black-hulled ship with no name that is said to have turned the tide. The Amarat Union was destroyed, and the Eldar scattered to the void. No one had a name on the vessel, but do you wish to guess what house's livery was flown?
A quarry one might.
There are survivors who claim that it was a hallucination, that it was a mistake, that in the heat of battle, some lost track of such things. But there are certainly those who felt that when so many proud houses may have been crushed, it was time for old Corvus to have his name remembered once again. I had that story told to me shortly after I came to the Expanse. And it really, when I heard that the Aquare were coming back to the Expanse and hoping to establish themselves once again, well, with that kind of reputation, you can understand why a gal like me may wish to be associated with such names. And I even hear Iggy was tight-lipped about it, but rumor is that he had some assistance from the Twilight Swords.
Twilight Swords?
The Twilight Swords, a group of corsairs, Eldar. They can be quite mercurial, the Eldar outcasts, but Twilight Swords, as far as murdering piratical Xenos are concerned, you certainly could do worse. The Children of Thorns are a bunch of dark Eldar murderers, and the Crow Spirits, they will kill you as often as they will help you. But the Twilight Swords, it's a curious band to come to the assistance of a family founded in this region by a Lord Inquisitor. I've heard curious things about the Twilight Swords. Can you confirm that those rumors are true? Now, you would know, Octavia, of course, that's what you've heard. That there's there has been an Eldar seen in the company of Ignatius after the events on Hephaestion's Rest. Dave's character that he played, the Eldar Void Reaver, he's from the Twilight Swords.
So I'll just lean over and say, one should never underestimate Aquari connections. A wink.
I am truly impressed. I was impressed with the name from beforehand. I am even more impressed with the resourcefulness of the representatives from House Aquari. But you didn't come here for a history lesson. I take it you came here for something else.
Yes, I say, I understand there's possibly some of these darker forces are back at work here in Footfall. And as you say, from our history, we want to bolster that as us being, the family being a protector.
Oh, certainly.
Of the prosperity and future of the Expanse.
If the right hand appears to be holding up the symbol of the Inquisition, then no need to concern yourself with what the left hand is doing, right?
Exactly.
I knew we'd be at item. Now, what Iggy has told me is that you are looking for someone who could have helped a Xenos get access to a ship, and then to get that ship over to the Rest. Do I have the measure of that?
That's good.
And you're looking to see if there's anyone left behind from that.
Yep.
So I think perhaps we need another round and a mid-session break. And then we will talk about what to expect of Footfall and ways I can help you. And while this is going on, Noros, that hooded figure watches.
No movement yet.
No movement yet. Seemingly eyes fixed from the shadows on whatever is going on at that table. So let's take our mid-session break now. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Early morning donut.
Looks like a good donut.
Hitting the spot at this moment. A bit of sugar to keep me going. Yeah, it's not bad. So I finally dug out my book.
Oh,
See it
nice.
properly in the dark. A big chunky boy. So we're working our way through most of the 40k now.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Got left. Only war next then. I guess that's going to be the next war story. To see if these are as capable as the Wrath and Glory ones. Characters.
Sir, what was that, James?
Oh, we'll see if these guys are as capable as the Wrath and Glory characters.
The Wrath and Glory characters were certainly capable. All right, so we're all back. So she had mentioned that she could help you. Noros, you're outside the Adeptus Amacicus, keeping an eye on this.
Stranger.
Stranger
and
stalker.
I think it's a good reminder I think that'll remind Octavia. It says, sorry, one of my team is watching someone who is watching us right now. Norris, describe to me again the person. Maybe it'll be someone familiar to you, Jerry. I guess we'll pass through.
I just closed it.
Talk.
Yes. Thin, slightly tattered clothing, wearing a hood, metallic face.
So if you're repeating that back, she nods and says, I've heard that House Aquari has drawn the attention of House Fell, and I was concerned that things might be serious. No, I think who's following you is probably one of the Astral Knives. And she says that too, way as if you should know what that means. Why don't you give us this one you actually might have a little better chance at knowing. Why don't you give us at a routine lore check there, Octavia. Icarus, you can as well, if you'd like. Or actually, hold on, we'll do which of you wants to roll with advantage? Who's got the better lore skill?
My lore is 38.
43.
Why don't you roll with advantage there, Icarus?
All right. Let's see.
Awesome. Well, actually, only he rolls then. Because if you're helping him out, you sort of look at one another, and with 4 levels of success, what you say? Here's what I'll tell you what they are. So, Icarus, the Astral Knives are a group of heretical, fanatical assassins who have been driven out of the Calixus sector and have found hiding here. They're heretical because they believe that they can communicate with the warp and that they are commanded by the warp to keep travelers safe. And the way that they do that is to conduct ritualized murders.
They're bonkers.
Well, unless they're right, in which case they're just really, really devoted. So how would Icarus communicate that to Octavia?
Just so they're assassins, you say. They're assassins that try to keep...
Heretical assassins. It's the Inquisition invited them to leave the Calixus sector, and that's why they found themselves here.
They got chased out.
Yeah, they sort of went, fled to here, and the Inquisition had bigger fish to fry than them. Particularly, like, what they're doing is they're murdering people because they think they can hear from the warp to keep travelers safe. And with 4 success levels, I can tell you, it's not 100%. Like, there's some people who believe that they actually do that. So if you've got someone who is on a perilous voyage in the Cronus Expanse, and the Astral Knives say they need to go and kill someone to keep your whatever safe, you may be okay with them doing it. So that's why the they haven't been driven out of Footfall.
So perhaps like superstitious sailors are on board, but anyone that is but the higher levels aren't. Like the respectable people are not on board.
Again, maybe. Like, they're here. Like, I don't think anyone looks them out necessarily or tries to hire them out, but like, no one's done anything to really drive them from here. So it seems like enough people put enough stock in what they're doing that they haven't made a point of trying to drive them out of here.
So it seemed like a bad thing if they're following you. I mean, if they're heretical assassins and they're following you, I mean, maybe they're not trying to kill you, but there's some significant chance they are, I would think.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. So
I I'm kind of off of Octavia's elbow. Like I'm not actually sitting at the table. I'm kind of standing aside slightly.
Yep.
So I
just
lean...
being weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Standing right in the way when people are trying to walk by. Every time they bump into you, you kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I give him, I'll give him the full visage of my face, because I know how disturbing it is. Yeah, yeah. Psyker, didn't know if you knew. So I lean in and I say, oh, those are those heretical assassins, Octavia. If they're following us, I don't know. It seems some chance that they have business with us.
I've heard, Jerry says, I've heard they've been interested in the Aquare name too. I don't know what they wish with it, but I've heard that the Astral Knives, they have a focus on the Aquare name.
I think we should meet with this one. Oh, perhaps I shall penetrate their mind, I say to Octavia with wide eyes.
I'm not cursed as you are, friend, but what happens when you pierce the mind of a madman?
Well, I may be able to tell if their business is trying to kill us, or perhaps to chat with us.
She looks at you, Octavia. I'll leave it to you to carry your affairs if you want, but having not seen the follower, and she looks over in the direction of the entrance, my guess is you've got the attention of the Astral Knives.
Maybe it is to protect us, Icarus.
Hmm.
Look on the bright side.
Optimist.
So, it seems you've already made other friends here as well, but allow me to give you a few options for where you might do. I know another person who would be keen on House Aquare owing them a favor. Have you heard of the Casbolica mission? And Octavia, you can give us a... actually, Icarus, this is another one for you. Why don't you give us a advantage lore check, or advantaged lore check, and you'll also make this at routine. This is another one of these, if you live in Footfall, you know who the Casbolica mission is. Excuse me.
There you go. Didn't come up yet?
Yeah, 5 success
Oh,
levels.
it did come up. Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was the same one. Yeah. Oh boy. So the Casbolica mission is, I'll give you a little extra information about this because he rolled so well. They are effectively the most powerful criminal enterprise in the Expanse. The Casbolica mission, and I'll put it in chat for you because that one's actually a little... Astral Knives, I think you can figure out how to spell that. That's the... Casbolica mission is a crime barons who are, in particular, are focused around the cold trade. Is one of the things that really drives a lot of the money, both in and out of here. There are people who like to involve themselves with the cold trade. The ones who really kind of run things as far as that illicit activity and other stuff, other profitable illicit activity on Footfall is the Casbolica mission. The Casbolica mission, because you rolled so well too, I will let you know, is led by a fella by the name of Vladim Takara. And Icarus, you're not going to be able to necessarily describe the guy, but the portrait is so fucking awesome. why don't we take a look at him and you can tell me what your impressions were of Vladam. While Vladam runs or is said to be the most important member and influential of the Kazbalika mission, he is not a rogue trader. And as such, he is always in search of allies and powerful people who can owe him favors. So she mentions the name, the Kazbalika mission. That's what you know. You also know that their local muscle is a group of hired thugs and thieves known as the Black Brotherhood. They are technically one of the separate kind of gangs that runs around Footfall as well, but it's sort of a unknown secret to those in the know that they are the primary muscle for the Kazbalika mission on Footfall. And their leader, who is an absolute brute of a man named Calcus Kalinicus, he answers to Vladam. Again, I know we all went to high school with Calcus Kalinicus, but let me just put it in the chat. In the event, it's spelled differently.
I thought that was the name of your high school band.
Yeah, no. That is Calcus Kalinicus. I think I've got an illustration for him as well. Oops, that's a character. Delete. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, pal. Oh, yeah.
I will pass all of this along in a low tone to Octavia that can, still be heard by our erstwhile friend. He is a bit beastie.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, he is the muscle for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, she has mentioned the Kazbalika mission. How do you phrase that? I also absolutely love that Icarus is this seeming this weirdo who's just worked in the household thing in the atrium, but has all this information about the underworld and all these ne'er-do-wells and stuff.
I am the disquieting person you're trying to ignore, but has wide ears.
Yep. So how do you describe the Kazbalika mission then, knowing that's what sort of the folks involved are?
So I lean down, not with my lips on Octavia's ear like before, but, maybe 5 inches away, but loud enough to be heard by Blitz. They say, the Kazbalika mission.
Kazbalika.
I'd probably say it wrong. And they are one of the they are the ones to watch in the criminal element here in the Expanse, led by a Vladam Tokara, cuts quite a visage himself. He always looking for advantage. He may be open to our ministrations for cooperation. It's possible.
Jerry's eyes kind of narrow as you're saying this, Icarus, and she says, I see your value now.
He's not just a pretty face. You see, Jerry?
I give her an unpleasant look, my usual, and
do you have another one?
I may, but it's truly reserved for I lean into the psyker unpleasantness, basically, just in general. So,
I've noticed the biting the bottom lip he's doing in the illustration too.
yeah. On occasion, some liquid coming out of my eye or something.
Love it. So she nods and says, "Well, then you know. I know that Vladaeum. If anyone knows what ship is coming and going, and how someone got a hold of it, or if there's anything to do with the cold trade that brought these Xenos here, he may have some good information for you. And I'm happy to make an introduction." And you realize, Octavia, that it's like, well, this is why Jerry's where she is, because she's making, and points on both ends of that transaction. A couple other things you may consider. There's a part of Footfall that others like to ignore, called the Xenosium. The Xenosium is where all the Xenos that we pretend don't live in Footfall live. If you think the Shadow Quarters is dangerous, Xenosium can be a lively place to go. But not all of the Xenos feel the same about each other, which is to say many of them hate each other. You may find some information down there, particularly if you've got an in with the Twilight Swords. There's also the docks. You could try knocking heads, asking around at Alpha Row, see what people have here. The Aquari name holds some weight, so perhaps some folks might want to curry favor, tell you what they saw or they remember. If you wish to, I hear from what Iggy says that the Xenos that were at the Hephaestium's rest were Psychers. If they target them or otherwise prey on them, there's another place called the Pit of Voices. And at that, Icarus, you kind of, oh boy. Pit of Voices is where Psychers go. Both sanctioned yet on the run, and rogue Psychers. It is a fucking wild place, Icarus. Do you think you've been to the Pit of Voices?
It's here on Footfall? Yeah, maybe I could have been something I was asked to do.
It could explain some of your, honestly, like some of your knowledge of what's going on here too. Like,
yeah,
there's if you need to get info from some rogue psyker or something like that, or you need to have someone who has an ability that is not something you're skilled in. The Pit of Voices is where you would find that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that could fit in a lot of places depending on going forward, but it could be something I did, for either Aquare or maybe I went there to establish it on my own, some information. But it could also be, being sanctioned. I assume I'm not, I'm not with the Inquisition, but I'm still kind of on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah, you would have influence among those who are sanctioned, because like the Pit of Voices would also be where sanctioned psychers are. But it would be like any other kind of community of folks with similarities. They're not necessarily all going to get along either. Not quite as bad as what the Xenosium might be. I'll put that in chat, by the way. Those two places. So that is a place. And the last place I have to suggest, if you cannot find any other means and you really want to throw hope in the hands of the God Emperor or the Emperor of Mankind, you could try Adder Soliket. And Icarus, you can give us another... Give us a lore check. This is one that I think, Octavia, if you're not from here, there's no chance of you having heard this name before. Why don't you give us a challenging lore check, Icarus? And Noros, are you listening in on the Vox unit?
Oh, yeah, the whole time. Absolutely.
Yeah, give us a lore check as well, each of you separately. This will be at challenging for both of you.
Oops.
Please. Nice, Icarus. See, he really gets around.
He does.
So, Icarus...
Maybe he spends more time in the Pit of Voices than he should.
It could very well be. So what you know is, perhaps when she says this, you know, you could react in some kind of like the fortune teller or something like that, because what she is this, a unkind way of describing her is a burned out astropath who can no longer function in that role, but has had her psychic powers warped in such a way that she's viewed as an uncannily accurate diviner. A generous way of describing her is that she is the most gifted viewer of your future, of whoever visits with her, of anyone in the Expanse. Her name is Adder Soliket. I'll put that in chat. Yeah, I know all of us, grade 6, as they're calling off names, Adder Soliket.
Right.
But that is her name. And since it's an NPC, I think why don't I give you a handout for Adder as well? Sometimes it's easier to remember these when you can look at the things, the images.
I definitely remember the faces more than
I
the
figured as much.
names.
There is Adder.
Yeah.
So those are the options, and I can think of as your best way of trying to pursue a couple of places, a couple of people, and a way of leaving it in the hands of others. Though it seems you've also drawn attention. You haven't noticed House Fell taking steps against you, have you? As far as you know.
Unless they're connected to this assassin.
The Astral Knives
What do you think?
do many things. They don't take out contracts, though.
Okay.
It could be an assassin, and it wouldn't be the first time someone tried to hide themselves as an astral knife. Although the last time someone did that, I heard that they found pieces of them floating around in the boneyard. And what you would know, Icarus and Noros, the boneyard is basically where, like, bodies and other similar shit gets dropped. It's kind of like a Lagrange point in Footfall where just it doesn't drift off, so it just kind of collects there in like a Sargasso of space, but with body parts and shit like that.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yep.
I may have even dumped a body there.
Quite possibly. So, tell me how I can help. If House Aquare wants my help, that is.
I think we should start with the meeting with our follower. But keep Blitz's offer here close at hand, maybe for an introduction to to Takara.
Why don't I grab drinks again? And I'll let you talk it over with your team. She nods, Tavi, and she nods towards your drink. Another?
What do you think, Octavia?
I don't mind if I do.
So Jerry will walk away, leaving you guys free to talk amongst each other.
I've got the las rifle on this assassin right now. Give me the word.
What do you think, Nicholas, though, that this astral knife is perhaps a distraction to our true purpose?
Well, I'm not sure she'd be our...
Good conversationalists.
I'm not sure it would be our first option if it wasn't already in front of us. Just saying, since they're already here, it might behoove us to figure out why. See if they have anything to offer.
Very well. And after that?
After that...
Well, the house does have Eldar connections, or we do not, so maybe the Xenosium isn't so useful.
I could go to the Pit of Voices as a thought. Obviously, Blitz's offer of an introduction to Takara of the Casablanca mission.
It is the Casablanca.
Casablanca.
Yeah, Casablanca mission.
Making strong connections is interesting, but clearly the Casablanca is a, nothing will be free there.
Indeed.
We could put ourselves into hock with people we don't want to. Possibly a route though. Or the shipyards.
Indeed. Perhaps Noros could beat some information out of someone down there at the docks.
I could.
Or maybe then let's start with this astral knife and then take it from there.
I think so. It's possible that would offer another avenue. I mean, it's someone with distinct interest in us. We're not sure if it has anything to do with our current purposes. If it does, or if it's just us. If it does, it could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And
are you going to use your abilities, Icarus, to open communication? My communication wouldn't be very friendly. As he looks down his last rifle.
Well, mine would be more friendly than that, but not friendly.
They seem to be intentionally keeping their distance from you.
Maybe I'll just lead the charge.
Yeah, we could do we could do just an introduction of sorts, which they may try to avoid. We'll see. I'd have to be fairly close to them if I was going to take a peek into their brain.
I meant just to say hello and that we knew they were there.
Yeah, it's probably better. I mean, if I take a peek, there's a chance they wouldn't know, and there's a chance they would know.
Or maybe I just walk up. I'm the least threatening of them. Of us.
What are you saying, Octavia? And I'm just being sarcastic. That's fine. It works.
Well, there and all.
You do rather have the looks to scare small children and assassins.
Why, thank you.
I'll describe their position.
Thank you.
Well, do you want to do so now? And
may as well. So let's say, go to Jerry, pass by, just say thank you for your guidance. We will be back and in touch. We had better follow some of your leads.
She says, leaving so soon? Well, who's going to drink all of... okay, I will. Places him down. Well then, Tavi, it's a pleasure to meet you. Shakes your hand. Icky?
I
He
nod.
certainly is.
You keep her safe, will you? And Noros, you keep doing whatever it is you're doing. She exchanges whatever like the Voxcom would be for her, whatever the grim and perilous version of a phone number is.
Right.
And she heads back to the table, leaving you guys able to grab your drinks or leave the Adeptus Amacicus.
Okay, so with that, I'll follow Norris's directions.
Yeah, I'll describe the position of this follower, or their current position anyway.
Okay. So let's do this. Why don't Octavia? Why don't you give us an awareness sight check with advantage, please? This will be contested, so it'll be challenging. Ooh. Thing.
Okay, so I've got advantage plus 10 plus 20. Just advantage.
Just advantage, yeah.
Yep. And challenging and.
Awesome. You beat me by 1. So you're looking around
That
and
is
you can
so
see,
good.
and like this is incredibly well concealed. They are in the darkness, and you can see precisely where they are. All in that one kind of lens, glowing. What do you do?
Good evening, well met.
All right, well, you have to walk. You spotted them
right.
like
I will
across
walk.
the
Yeah, so I will
concourse.
walk. I will walk directly towards her.
Okay. So you walk directly, and while they're in the shadows, they do not move whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And then as you walk in, you realize that they've picked a really fucking good place. Like, they could knife you in here, and you'd never know. I'm assuming... let's do this, guys. So, Noros, because of your planning and position, you guys, if this does get violent, you'll have 1 superiority, and because you're aware of where he is, I think this is sort of the general catch-all. So you'll be going into a fight with 2 superiority. So, as you walk up, I'm not saying it is violent, but just to give an example of what how we judge this stuff.
Right, like how it would come into play.
Yeah. So you walk up, and Octavio, you say, what?
Well met. It appears you have a great interest in me or my house. How can we help you?
Well, why don't you give us a rapport charm check, please? So I think charm is your specialty, or one of your specialties. And just trying to see here.
No, so no advantage.
This will be. Let's make this routine.
Routine.
Please. Nice. So you say that you asked whether you could help them?
Mm-hmm.
We do not need help. We have offered Aquare help.
This is coming through a raspy respirator in the inside of this suit.
And what help are you offering or providing?
We have. You are of Aquare.
It doesn't sound like it does seem to be a question.
You are of Aquare.
I am indeed Octavia Aquare, no less. Of the family.
The blood has been spilled. The warp is sated. Your captain is safe.
Then very good. Thank you for your assistance.
It nods to you. It's still difficult to tell the gender. They're slender and they're tall, you know, but you can't really make out anything from the voice or the equipment. And what you can see now that you're up close, because Noros had mentioned it, there is a knife at the side, and it's difficult to see what it is. It looks to be Xenos of some kind, just from the way the handle kind of is made. And unless you like move to stop this person, they're going to leave now that they've communicated this to you.
Okay, no, I'll let them go.
So, and Noros, I think you may be the one who carries along. They don't give any indication that they know where you are as they're leaving. So,
yeah, and I don't expose my position until they're gone, basically.
Okay.
Just in case.
With them gone, that leaves Noros still in kind of Overwatch, and Icarus and Octavia standing outside of the Adeptus Massacus.
So, you took from that they somehow assisted Cornelia Quade in the warp? Is that what you took from it, Octavia?
Apparently so.
Curious.
But with that, I guess we leave them to their devices.
Yes, I wouldn't have necessarily known the ancestral knives would be able to affect such a situation.
Astral
knives affect such a situation.
Yeah, that's the reputation they have, is that they'll, murder to satisfy the warp to have travelers safe. Again, that's the reason sort of people haven't clamped down on them here, is because there's enough folks who think that, well, maybe there's something to this, you know? I mean, if you ask, Octavia's ancient predecessor, then fuck no, it's not. They're heretics. Kill them. But... well, first interrogate them, find out who their friends are, then kill them.
So does that mean they've woven their magic or whatever to assist us?
Yep.
They've murdered enough to assist us, I suppose, by reputation.
They're after my job.
And maybe it was Fell that they disposed of. We can only hope.
That would be interesting.
So what do we think? We are trying to track down some Xenos that may have been left. So what do you... the Xenosium would seem to be an obvious place, but a bit rather hiding in plain sight, as it were. But otherwise, it would seem like the docks would be the place to... well, but then that would have been a long time ago. Any thought, Noros?
You can assume that whatever your characters remember from the adventure that took us to Hephaestium's Rest, all of that would have been shared there. So... like the fact that there were monks that were still hidden, on there. You guys seem the Ignatius and Dressura and all those others, they seem to get there like while the Gene Sealer cult was trying to take over the place. So this is something that happened within like a week or so ago.
So the docks may be a good place.
Right. They may not have had much time to cover their tracks or...
So shall we try that?
It's
A chance
and it
for
seems
Noros to work his
charming
skills.
magic. Yeah, it would seem a rather low obligation on our part, just to see what we find there.
The only risk would be, I guess, is that the docks is where you are most likely to potentially run across agents of House Fell. I mean, that's a risk that you might just have to run wherever you go, but the docks in particular is going to be a fairly neutral territory as far as all the houses are concerned, and it's a place where fucking anything can happen.
So that I'd suggest that or the Pit of Voices. Does somebody have a desire of the Xenosium?
Let me ask you this. What questions do you wish to ask? Like, what is it you're trying to track down here? You have been given a fair amount of discretion to find this threat and exterminate it, but how do you think you would go? What are the things you need to know in order to do that?
Like, so Jeff doesn't know the lore that he, like, are these things, like, are they their own faction, so to speak, or would they be here working with others or of someone else's request?
Gene Stealers, the concern is Gene Stealers don't work with anyone else. They hide within, because remember, the Gene Stealers are... this is not widely known, I don't think, but like your characters would probably have an appreciation of the peril. The Gene Stealers are the harbingers of Tyrannid swarms, and
right, yeah.
So the way that they spread, they actually they can share their transformative genetic material with other targets, and they are very potent psychers. So they often leave like one behind who then will infect other people, dominate them, infect them with the genetic material, and then build the cult out from there until it gets big enough that it can have a psychic beacon or serve as a psychic beacon for others.
So we're looking for a psyker who's either is new or is showing, who is behaving strangely. Well, that's pretty normal for a psyker.
Mm-hmm.
But and who is getting out and about, because they're presumably proselytizing some more cultists.
Yeah, and the way that the cultists work, it's not so, this is not like, hey, come join our cult because it's good or whatever else. It's especially early on, it's just mind control. They dominate them and whatnot. So, Icarus, what you might be thinking of, if you are a potent psychic alien who wants to bring in, you know, folks you can dominate to then infect with your genetic material and have them slavishly loyal afterwards, would you hide yourself among a bunch of psychics, or would you go elsewhere and be nowhere near psychics?
Because you may get eavesdropped on, indeed.
Also, they might be more difficult to affect. You know, the psychics might be a more challenging thing to affect with your abilities. As you would know, you know, while they're very powerful psychics, they're not, you know, godlike. You'd heard what Desura? You heard what Desura did. She actually shattered the psychic hold that the magus of that cult had tried to put on the rest of the allies. So they also may be hunting. Oh, sorry, James. What was that?
No, sorry. You were going to give us some more clues.
Oh, I was going to say that they're also at this stage too. If there is anything left behind as kind of a contingency plan, they are probably quite weak because you would want to bring your strongest ones along with you.
So potentially they'll be out hunting or building their group, so as you say, not around the Psychers. Probably not around the Xenosium, particularly. Again, there's potential for quite a lot of...
Does that make the docks the best?
There.
Best thought?
And there's the slums, though, right?
Right.
That's probably where...
Are psychic abilities genetic in nature? Like, once they pass their genes along, do they then create more psychics, essentially?
They can, yeah. And that's the way that they... Once they transform into their full state, that's where you get your purebred or pure breed gene stealer. Let's see here. This is...
like they were the guys with the 3 arms.
Yeah, so here's Gene Stealer in kind of early stages of transformation. With a hood and some disguises, you can still kind of pass as a human being. There's the hybrids.
Right, those are the first ones we saw.
Yeah, which get definitely further along. And... I'm wondering, I don't know if I've got an illustration of a pure one, but let me take a look here. No, I don't. Pure strain are like, imagine one of those things, but with 4 limbs and a bunch of chitin, no clothes, and vicious teeth to match those claws.
So like, to be fair, quite hideous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you need a Space Marine.
Yep.
So they're going to presumably go for the easiest marks. And
there you go, Jeff. That's what a pureblood gene stealer.
Oh yeah, okay.
And all of them have the potential to infect and transform your genetics.
Right, even the beginning ones still maintain that ability. Yeah, okay.
So let's see here, guys. Here's Footfall. There's the larger kind of areas, and then there's, of course, the other places we talked about, like the Pit of Voices, the Xenosium. The docks are at the Void Dock, Alpha Row. You're not wrong that there's the Shadow Quarters. And then you also have the offer of the introduction. The advantage there is that you would be having effectively temporary... they may have some further insight into what specifically you're looking for. And then mechanically as well, you can effectively get borrowed influence, which would grant you success levels on some of your checks. The way we'd probably do the investigations is with extended tests. Extended tests are a thing in this as well. And if you're able to call on influence, which you guys are, not only through House of Quarre, but also through your own individual things, you each got, in place of your patron, you can just bring your own influence to bear among the Adeptus Telepathica, among the Astra Militarum, among the Rogue Traders.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have one more question. If I was infected, would I know?
Probably, yeah. It's not the kind of thing like it's not like they bite you, and it's not like werewolves or whatnot. Like, it's a thing that has to kind of actively be. You have to have the psychic around to also affect that kind of transformation, which is why they want to dominate people, keep them around them. You're transformed, and then once you're under a certain level, the more people who are transformed as well, the more powerful the Magus gets. Because the design is you get as many people as a member of this cult as you can, and that lattice work forms the psychic beacon that calls in the Tyranid swarm.
Got it.
Yeah. That may have an effect on the cold trade then, if that happened.
Right. I would say.
So, what do you guys think?
Where should we go? Does this point us towards the docks or?
It's either the docks, but that's going to be sort of high traffic.
Yeah.
Well, and what the point there would be to try and maybe track down who they got the ship from, so that would give us a trail to them. Is that the idea at the docks?
I think so. So it'd be ships.
Like, obviously they needed a ship to get to the monastery.
And then a ship back. But how would we track that one down? There's a colossal number of ships going in and out. And they probably didn't say we're off to the monastery. I mean, that would be the way to catch them, but I'm just wondering, how do we...
Right, because otherwise it's a bit of a needle in a haystack kind of a game there. And not everybody is going to want to cooperate with us, that's for sure.
And do we need the Kazbalika to help us find where people have gone missing? I mean, I suppose, again, in the shadow quarters, probably people go missing all the time. But...
At least one to keep Captain Quinelli safe.
I mean, he was probably worth dozens.
Are you saying that the warp was making a high demand for the, like, listen, I'll not kill him, but you're going to have to really make this worth my while here.
Yep. Yep.
what do you think, guys? Do we try and get the ship, or do we try and...
So the way that I would structure the investigation on the grounds is we'll set an extended test threshold there. But then I'm also going to, at the same time, every time you guys make a roll, I'm going to be making a roll for the folks who are looking for you.
Right.
So it doesn't guarantee that you're going to run into trouble for it. And if you roll a crit fail, which is a 96 or higher, then something fun happens. Did I say fun? Yeah, I meant fun.
Yeah, right, of course.
And that would also, one of the advantages, that's more of a montage thing, so you guys could narratively fit in whatever skills or powers or whatnot that you think would be appropriate for that approach. And you guys need not necessarily be in all working in the same area, though if you're not, and there's a critical fail, it'll be whoever is on their own who faces whatever the consequences are of that. But I mean, there's a 5% chance of that happening, guys. When does that ever happen in RPGs? Come on.
Indeed.
I think you should feel safe as houses, definitely.
I think we could start at the dock. It is the warmest trail, so to speak. Right, Kev? Like you're saying, timeline-wise, we're just after this incident.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the freshest trail that we have. Like if you're hunting prey, that's where the trail starts.
I agree. That's
give it a shot.
Let's do that.
So let's say
the docks. You're
going to start with a day's. The test will represent a day's activity.
Yeah.
And let me think here. I'm going to see if it's on the screen. I wonder if there's guidance for how long these should be. There's an example in the kind of box text about how long they should be. But it doesn't tell you what the scale might be for like how many success levels we would need. I really do like this screen.
Yeah, it's a good screen. There's a lot on there.
Temporary influence. Okay, conditions. Influence, difficulty, no. Okay. Then... Oops. Let me see if there's... I'm just going to look at the list in the GM screen. If not, I'll come up with a number here.
This is going to be like how we often do these tasks. Like, we come up with an idea of what we're doing to try and get the information, and then we'll make an appropriate roll to see what we've
absolutely
done.
Yeah. Whatever your success level will be, the progress, positive or negative, towards the extended test. I am going to say, just like in A Life Well Lived, you're not going to be able to go below 0. So failures early on, you're only going to progress, and then you can lose that progress. You're not going to start dipping into zeros with negative success levels.
Right.
Although I might make another consequence from it. Oh, you know what I'll do is I'll add that to the success levels of your foes. There we go. Love it, guys. Writing rules as we go here. So, who would like to make the first check? I think we'll set the success level for this one at 10. That seems like a nice round number, and I happen to have dice that rarely gets used to count down shit anymore. So, there we go.
Nice.
Who's thinking they're going to roll first? And is it all down at the Void Docks now? I think I've actually... Do I have a... Do you want me to put this footfall map in a handout, guys?
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah? Okay, let me do that.
I feel like it's best if we all start together.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
And we're going to be approaching just low-level people. Is that it? That we're not... This isn't contacts, or this is... what do you think?
You have no contacts as of yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Right. This is to generate leads, essentially.
This is you talking to people, spending a little bit, you know. The way bribes, let's just talk about that quickly, because I think it's expending influence in order to bribes. Let me take a look here.
That's on the screen. That's on the leftmost panel.
Is it? Let's see.
In the middle. There's just, a blurb.
Influence.
A couple of blurbs.
Oh, right. No, I'm looking for specifically bribes right now, not the gaining and losing the influence.
It just says temporary influence gaining through bribery or learning sensitive information about an NPC. That's right next to it.
Right, but that doesn't, like, that tells me that's possible. It doesn't give me any insight into how that goes about.
Yep.
That's telling me water is wet, not why. And it's not really right that way at all, but hold on here. Does it say on the sheet what to... Oh, no, you know what? I'm right here. I'm at influence. Okay. Because I like the bribe rules, or the possibility of the bribery rules, but I'm curious to see what... how you
bribery is
that.
the last resort, gentlemen and ladies.
I don't know. Octavia's pretty fucking good at it. So there is that. Here we go. Bargaining and selling. And there isn't a page reference for bribery. Let's see. And there's not like a... is there social interaction page? For those listening at home, it's the first time we're running the game too, so I do apologize for looking up stuff, but this is usually how we spend some of the first sessions with these 40K games. Well,
and if we don't at least try to do the rules right, people will point that out too.
Yeah, true. It's also saving. Okay, and that's I think rapport is the social skill. Good news, I found the rules for silent takedown. No word on bribery as of yet. What is your bribery skill called, or your talent called, Octavia?
I think it's rapport. Bear with me. Let me get it.
It's called Briber. I am a bit of a demi. Here we go.
Oh, right. I was looking at my...
Oh, and this reduced for rapport haggle.
Yeah, so I don't have bribery skill.
Well, you just use rapport.
Skill.
Yeah, you don't need the
so
specialty. You just use the
rapport.
base skill for that stuff. And then your
Intuition to figure out
deal
if they
maker
are.
would decrease the... Oh, interesting. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look at not that. I think a lot of the other games put like the gear and the psychic stuff later on in the book, and it's earlier on in this one, so I continually want to try and flip in the wrong direction once I find those. Okay.
I do think that Pathfinder's book with the sections always on the side of the page so that you can see where you're flipping to is one of the best designs I've ever seen on that, and more people should copy that idea.
Agreed.
What was it again, Jeff? Sorry, what did you just say?
Oh, like on Pathfinder, the way they have like the sections of the book all along the edge of the page, and the colors sort of on the, like, it's red when you're in that section, and it's very easy to find the section from any given page.
Yep.
I really like it.
I think, why don't we do this? When you... Okay, so there is actual, thrones that are used as currency in the game, too. Let's see here. They call them Macarian Solar in this, but I think it's thrones in other games. And other 40K games, but...
Yeah, I think according to the law, there isn't a sort of imperial currency. Every world has its own.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So let's... How much do I have listed on there how much money you guys each have?
Lots! Huge amounts!
Because there is actual rewards in terms of like cash. Okay.
Well, you might not have lots, Icarus.
Oh, fair point. That's a fair point.
Oh, you know what? It does, I think, come from... Hold up here. The combination of the different parts of your character. There is also a boon. Hold on, you guys have from the quarry. Hold on, I can, because maybe this actually might assist you as well.
I'm thinking a pretty woman there. We're going to spend a lot of money today. How much? Oh, obscene amounts. Ooh.
Okay. So you're one of the few ones who has, because you're part of a house that has where your patron is a registered trader, you can save 10%. You can acquire anything at a discount equal to 10% multiplied by the highest influence modifier, which is +2 from Captain Acquire. So that's 20% discount on anything you're buying. That doesn't tell us what your starting cash is, though. All right. Oh, here we go. So you guys have Telepathica, 500 thrones. Rogue Trader. You have 1,100 thrones. And as part of the Astra Militarum, Noros, you have 300 thrones.
I was the first one?
You were the first one, yeah, the Astra Telepathica. Where is it here?
300 thrones and a fag packet.
I think I keep calling it Adeptus. Hold on. It is... Oh, Adeptus, yeah, Adeptus Astra Telepathica. You have 500.
All right.
Now, let's see here. I've got a sense of what a value of a bribe might be.
Now you can see why I didn't want to bribe anyone.
Broke.
You can just about buy another hand cannon with that.
That's true.
Just wait till Jeff gets this one to the fucking table. That las cannon. It'll make up for lost time, I tell you.
Yeah, finally.
Blazing away with it. Who's laughing now?
Oh, I know. I almost shot the assassin just cause.
He knows what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have told us any story you wanted to. You know, he started to charge you guys. I could tell. It was.
I saw the glint of a knife.
That's right.
But Jeff, it's roll 20. You'd still have rolled 99.
Probably.
Here we go. Rewards. Okay. I'll use the rewards as a kind of a benchmark for oh, here we go. Okay, so 29 is the payment grade. I'm going to look more closely after between now and next session about the bribes and stuff. Here we go. Payment grade. Payment per standard day.
So for this session, we can just assume we just learn everything we want, right?
You have, let's see here. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So at the end of each successful mission is when you get some lump sum payment as well. So let's do this. I think let's use 100 thrones as sort of the default sort of bribe thing, and we'll go from there. As far as whether, you know, I wonder if there's further. Guys, I found the corruption section. Don't worry. Don't worry. Kev, are we going to get infected by chaos? I got you covered, guys. Found the section. I bookmarked it. We're good to go.
I thought when you were talking about bribery, that might count as corruption as well, but there you go.
Right.
But that's just regular dealings.
This is a non sequitur, but I was reading the because I'm back into the 2D20 games with getting Fallout. I was reading Dishonored, and I forgot that when you try to kill someone in Dishonored, if you're attacking to kill, it automatically adds 2 chaos to the Game Master's pool.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
it keeps with the video game. It sort of has that like morality mechanic to it as well, but it's an interesting way of just kind of keeping that topped up. And in the new, speaking of which, in the new Star Trek and in the new that Machines and Dreams version of it, they have NPCs who have personal threat. So, you know, the issue of like, oh, I don't have enough fucking doom to be able to do what I want to do with the things. There's certain characters, like boss characters, come pre-built with pool. Like, what an obvious and brilliant way around that issue of affecting the tempo of play if players aren't spending that narrative meta currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really like that. Like, what an obvious way to be like, okay, here's an easy fix, just take it.
Yep.
So maybe everyone else was doing that. I did not even think of doing that. I was like, how can I possibly be getting myself out of these impossible chains of the game mechanics?
Yeah.
Lord knows we never changed those. So what I think is any bribery would be 100 thrones as a starting point, and then you have your different abilities that will modify that stuff. Each point of bribe you give will affect a success level by +1. So that would be a way of incentivizing bribes if you choose to drop them. Okay, so who is going first here? Who would like to make the first roll?
Well, I have an idea, so I could start.
Sure.
The skill that Noros actually has that's maybe the best here, and the way he would approach this kind of thing is sort of like, he's not a charismatic guy, so he's not like, you know, gonna go ask a lot of questions, but he does have the ability to sort of be very everyman, you know, merc looking guy. He's not necessarily as a recognizable face as of being a quarry, so I'm thinking like stealth, like just get places, go to the docks, fit in, talk to the ship people in a more casual, you know, like, so as in like blend in, fit in.
What you would have to do then is you would have to leave your flak armor behind.
Yeah.
And your armor. Like, there's probably, we can talk about what weaponry you might bring with you, but that's the stuff that has your aquare. Like, you're an armsman of the house, so your armor would have that. What do you feeling okay about them?
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's also the way that he would blend in as a dock worker.
Yeah,
you know, like
definitely
as one of the locals kind of thing.
Okay. So why don't you give us then what do you think you're carrying with you then? You could probably conceal no one would think twice about you having a stub revolver on you.
Yeah, probably like just a small, you know, a knife and a revolver, that kind of thing. No big las rifle, no big armor suit.
Hand cannon.
Yeah.
Here we are again.
It's a no-brainer.
Shitty hand cannon.
Wherever you go, Jeff, there you are.
Yeah. I couldn't resist.
All right, so why don't you give us a stealth check at let's make this routine then.
Okay. Yeah, because when I say I'm good at it, it's like one of the skills I'm okay at.
Okay.
It's not that I'm like great, to be fair.
I think of the put down. He's a very modest man. He has much to be modest about.
Ooh. So there we go. One success.
Okay. You could spend fate points to try and increase that as well. You don't need to, each increase in success level is 1 fate point, but that is of course 1 fate point that you have not spent then, or you don't have to spend on other things.
Right.
What do you think?
Oh, every fate point increases the success rate by 1.
Success level by 1, yeah.
Or yeah, I'll spend 1.
Okay. So
let's start getting this in a positive direction.
All right. So you start asking around down by the docks. Hello, fellow dock workers. In your, rigid militaristic stance, not hunched over, sucking on some kind of Xenos narcotic to get you through the day. You're starting to make progress. At the very least, you're getting some groundwork done. Allow me to roll for your nemesis.
Hopefully they don't immediately spot me now that I'm here out of my armor. And
Octavia or Icarus, who would like to go next?
Octavia, you have a thought?
I'll go to the Port Authority and ask to see about what the list of toings and froings that might have had a destination, because if I remember from the map, it's you can see it's going through the gates, right? So I'd be looking for something that was heading and then came back too quick to be to have gone all the way through.
Sure. So then that sounds to me like you're trying to use not only rapport in some way, but you're also drawing on your influence as a rogue trader. Okay. Yep. So you, why don't you give us what are the other specialties? I'm curious if charm. See, there is one called inquiry. So I think that this is just your rapport, but you will get +1 success level.
Okay. Inquiry. Right. So rapport. It's just challenging, right?
For this one, routine as well.
Okay, rapport. Come on. Routine.
You want to fate point that? Reroll.
Yeah, I'll fate point that one.
Okay.
Come on.
First fate point from Octavia.
Oh no, second. It's just not registering on the screen.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
There you go.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, baby.
All right, but that's also +1 on top of that.
7 success levels. Woohoo!
Very nice. So, yeah, you're asking around, and by going through the records, I think you're narrowing down precisely, or by convincing someone to do this stuff on account of your natural charm and your influence. You are narrowing down precisely where this thing might have gone missing from, and therefore who may have been responsible for that. Icarus, you have any thoughts? Ooh, let me make my roll for your adversaries. Hold on. Icarus, what are you thinking?
I have been keeping an eye to see if I have spotted, by chance, any other sanctioned psychers in the dock area.
Tell me more what you're thinking here.
Well, if trying to use that to see to
like, there's not likely any. You would see some in there, but they're not likely working there necessarily.
Yeah, they're transients. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then in that case,
what were you thinking of doing with them?
just to inquire and see if they had noted anything, because the as we were told that the foes at the monastery had a psychic signature of sorts, and so I was curious, if they'd spotted anything unusual in the warp. That would have been the that was the
go ahead,
thought.
Jeff.
I was going to ask Icarus if you can sense the presence of other psychers.
Yeah,
if they were
your awareness senescence skill, that if you're just wandering around, if not talking to them, if just sort of like bloodhounding it around in here.
Who's more than a candle?
Well, and wouldn't there be a conglomeration of them if they were together as a group of them? Isn't it strange for psychers to be together?
Yeah, or those who have, a profound signature anyway, whether they're psychers or something else, whatever is out there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Why don't you give us a senescence check at routine, please?
Okay.
Would you like to fate point that?
Yeah, let's go. Let's see.
Oh. Out I don't know what is your token changed for you now, Octavia?
Yes. Now.
Oh, so I don't know what you were changing then, because it was still showing as 3.
Yeah, there's a current. Oh, I was doing spent. Because I thought it had to your fate.
Yeah, I would just use the token
spent.
instead of using the character sheet.
Oh yeah, on the token it just wasn't reacting.
And you know, current. If you declare for mine, the current's working, but the current field, the current scroller.
Let's see here.
No, anyway, it's working now. So if I do this,
yeah,
no,
current 1 spent 2. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the tokens are limited in their interface with the character sheet, so I don't know what. Like, I think I had to set the cap at 3 myself, as opposed to whatever is in there. So but what I know is the tokens will track back to whatever your current thing is. So sorry, Icarus. You're giving us a sinus. Are you spending a fate point?
I did.
You did. Holy smokes! Yeah, is that ever?
That's a biggie.
So here's what you find, actually. I think with that good of a roll. First, let me roll for your nemesis. They make luck out, too. Okay. What you find, Icarus, is you are asking you're sort of just wandering around and keeping yourself, your third eye open, as it were. For this, and it's tough here because there are a lot of psychers who are coming and going, and there's a lot of strong emotion here and whatnot. But in spite of all that, what do you think it is that cause? Oh, also you have your psychic focus, which gives you +1 for.
Oh, it's right, 8
for that stuff. Nice. So you're focusing in. What do you think it is that's got you so doggedly attentive for this?
I mean, I will say that it strikes me that the docs are a little of everything, and perhaps I started, even as Sean did, I started by looking, like, because I do have that, that giant focus, and so I may be like casting my eye around for some other, similarly ostentatious, focus kind of thing, and then I realize, and I start muttering to myself that, like, what am I thinking? And and I look inwards instead, and then all of a sudden it goes whoosh, all of a sudden it's just like, yes, because now it's like all the riffraff is just clear. They're just little candles,
And I think there is just enough timing for you to, let me see here. God, I truly, when I was snagging images for this from various 40K sources, I got so many fucking awesome illustrations for this adventure. Here we go.
They're from a certain place, you say?
Oh, just a variety of different 40K sources, websites and stuff like that. So there's just so much. I mean, between video games and the source books and the card games and whatnot, there's so much content for things. Which is funny because, like, there's images that I'll remember from the source books or whatnot that you'll be like, oh, this is repurposed. This is something that's been dropped from something else.
Right.
When one publisher included it in their book and then some other publisher separate from them includes the exact same picture, you're like, oh, that came from the media library with the license. Got it. Okay, he's not carrying a Melta weapon, and he's wearing a heavy robe. But you quite clearly can pick up the beacon of this. So I think Noros is here, kind of doing his blending in stuff. Octavia, you're likely somewhere in the scene, no more than like, maybe, we'll see how many actions away you are. But Icarus, you definitely can sense this guy. And let me make nothing's happened yet. You just sort of picked him up, and you can quite clearly see the writhing wrongness of this. Because, I mean, as part of an astral beacon, I imagine that they've got some bizarre, disruptive kind of presence, almost like a tinnitus in the immaterium, you know, of something that's trying to build towards something. And he is doing his best to remain unseen and seems to be making his way through the docks towards something. Where he's going, you don't know yet, but you fixated on him. And let's put him at medium range away from you. So he's like one zone. This game uses, we've all played games like, you know, Fantasy Flight Star Wars or Star Trek or, you know, Star Trek Adventures at least, that use the abstracted ranges. They do give ranges for non-zone stuff, which I do really like. I like having both those because I do like using battle mats with zones. I've done it successfully with Soulbound, but very few other games. It's always just fucking abstracted things.
So medium's up to 20, right? 20 meters ish.
Yes, and let's do this. Let's. Who? I think because you've spotted him, without him seeing you, Icarus. Currently, our combat superiority would be 1.
Okay.
Okay. So, Icarus, what do you do? Oh, let's put this in initiative. Guys, let's I'm not saying you have to fight this guy, but let's learn how to do initiative. Initiative, if you click on your, I think you might need to click on your token in this one, because I think I was fucking around with it. The way initiative works is just a score. We take a look at your score, and then if the scores are the same, I think we look at reflexes, and whoever has the highest reflexes goes first. Let me add this Xenos scum in here. Is there an initiative?
It's probably on the combat tab, right?
I'm looking for it.
Oh, there's a button on the initiative tab right at the top.
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Did you need to click on your token to do that?
I did click on my token before I clicked on it.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Noros and Octavia, which of you has the higher reflexes?
Reflex is 34. It's on
it's a skill?
If you go on, it's on
40.
combat.
Yeah, 40. Oh, there. Yeah, it's also there. Okay, I see it.
Oh.
Okay. Got what I need. His initiative is 6. Sorry, you guys, I heard 34. I've got the sheets here. What am I doing? I have your character sheets, by the way, guys. So
40 was and 34.
40 and 34, awesome. Which is 30. Okay, so he'll be after all of you guys. So let's put this in descending, and I think Noros is higher. Yeah, okay. So Icarus, you were up first. What are you doing?
I think the first thing, as I discovered him, like, there you are. And then activate my bead.
Tweet. I have a free action to communicate with the others.
Yeah. I have him. I say, like, unhelpfully at first. You know, kind of like, what are you talking about? What do you have? Yeah.
It's a really good kebab.
I say, come to my location now. And I am not, first of all, I'm not going to lose this thing. That is first priority.
Okay.
I think I am going to give my intention is to give some time for my comrades to triangulate to my location.
So let's do this. Why don't you roll stealth with advantage because of the circumstances, and we'll make contested with his awareness. Okay. Oof.
What difficulty?
Always challenging on contested.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm going to make a little hand up thing. I can use it on both Friday nights and Saturday.
nice.
What's the difficulty? Challenging is always contested is always challenging.
Is this a situation where I could use the superiority?
No, because you're not in. Yeah, why not? We're in kind of quasi combat right now. Sure.
I think.
And then we can see how it works.
Yeah. I'm going to put it to
so
use.
then, yeah, but it'll be +1 for the superiority, so that'll add to your success level.
But what if we need it in the next 12 minutes?
Ho, mama!
Oh, I have one left.
Fate point? Yeah, fuck it, do it.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. It's better.
Okay, it's better. All right. Thank God for that advantage, eh?
Yeah.
No, actually, the original dice roll would have been fine. So, where is the 10 modifier coming in?
I didn't.
Because added 10 as a modifier to it.
So superiority doesn't provide that? What does superiority do?
No,
again?
superiority adds +1 success level.
Okay.
I mean, the reason that matters only is because with a 35 against a 35, that's a 0 success level. Well, which gets you to a 1, so it's the exact same destination. Yeah, so I guess it works out the exact same. And it doesn't, I think, because superiority, it seems like you're using it always on contested rolls anyway, so it won't make a difference if it adds +10 or if it adds +1 to the, like, the only time where the +10 matters is if it's a pass-fail thing, which would be an uncontested one, right? So
you think they're doing the superiority, they're just doing the 10 instead of a success level?
Yeah, I think mechanically they're just adding it that way because it, if it's always going to be a contested, probably, yeah, whatever voodoo, happens on behind the scenes of this. All right, so Icarus, you are following this guy. Noros, what are you doing?
I'm going to make my way to his location.
Let's make
back him up.
Let's make it a success level of 5, and then you'll be at his location. Are you trying to rush, or are you trying to triangulate? So I think
I would be using athletics at this point or something along those lines to just book it over there.
Go ahead. Yeah, give us an athletics check. Doesn't look like you have any specialties anyway with it, so doesn't matter what it is. But go ahead and give us an athletics check. You're looking to reach 5, and then you've re-triangulated with them.
On challenging?
On challenging, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Done. Oh.
You want to spend that last fate point?
Yeah. Okay. Then he immediately gets there and it's dead. I can't. Oh, well, it didn't help.
Okay, we're not going to punish you for it, but you're pushing through.
You're farther away. You ran the wrong way.
It's shoving your way through. Like someone, maybe a crew has just come off of its, its break, and you're trying to push your way through as they're trying to get back to work. Octavia?
Okay.
I will head my way there. I'm going to be working my way
Same thing.
through the crowds.
So athletics again?
Athletics. And athletics. This isn't going to be good.
You know, fate point that?
I guess there's not.
Remember, you guys have superiority too. You could apply your superiority to it.
Oh.
So Jeff, you would have been at a 1 level of success from that first one, and you'll have your fate point back. And you could have spent that fate point to add +1 to your levels. You wanted us to be 3 away?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
maybe I'll get there before the end of the session.
Oof. Okay. So you're having the same difficulty, Octavia, reaching there. Maybe it's just the way the docks are laid out, or
maybe it has something to do with where Icarus found them.
Okay. Now this guy is trying to hide Icarus. So you can give us an awareness, and you can use Synescence if you'd like, but it's going to be a contested roll against his stealth. I got a 4 levels of success.
All right, I'm Sinusiencing.
Yep.
And okay, let's see here. You got me.
Plus
Plus
one from the focus.
Still got me.
And you have no fate points left, right?
Nope.
Okay, so you currently have lost track of him. So
I think I'm letting loose into the microbead. Just a unpleasant stream of invective, probably blaming everyone else. Like, where is everyone?
Icarus, what are you doing? You've currently lost track of him, but you could still try and find him again. There is an actual action call that's the equivalent of like the seek action from PF2.
Okay.
It is called
Search? No.
Yeah, search. It is search. Yeah, there you go. I thought it was something more,
more complicated,
convoluted, or clever. But
yeah.
It's like
it does
your
even mention
talent I was trying to find. What's that one called? The one that's to do with bribery? Oh, it's bribery.
It doesn't even mention you need to find something, be it an enemy, an object. So it even gets it right in there. So
absolutely.
Yes.
Guess I'll make a contested roll here.
Okay.
I got -1. No, I got 0. Actually, I got 0. 0 degrees success. Oh, you got 2. 3.
That wasn't me yet.
Oh, that wasn't you yet. Okay.
That wasn't me.
Crediting you as successes.
I got 2.
You got 2. I was right. Look who's psychic now.
You were.
All right, so you pick him up again, and he's still at medium and trying to make his way through the crowd.
Yeah, I'm just spitting into the bead like, I have him again. There he is.
All right, Noros.
I guess I'm still trying to run there.
Give us
I
athletics
really
check.
have a better method of getting
And
there
I'm
than
cursing at you, Nora.
Yeah.
I'm cursing.
I'm sweating.
And remember, you guys have 1 point of superiority you can use each turn.
Oh, it's
Whether
really
that's on
right.
a-
So I just
I'm assuming
plus one
Icarus
in there,
saved
yeah.
his to use in the next contested roll. Because there was once per turn.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So what do you just like Andre the Giant it? Everybody move!
Yeah. Lets out a bit of his, military mindset, and
Turns out the crew's used to listening to people, so they all kind of split out of the way, and you're able to go racing over. Well, for free, why don't you give us an awareness check? This one will be at with advantage because Icarus is spotting for you. Challenging once again.
Advantage, submit, challenging. Oh.
Wait, did you add your superiority to that, or did you add your
I already
superiority
used
to the?
it. Yeah, I already used it.
Where is he?
I wanted to be sure to get there.
You can't see where he is. Octavia.
Back to my athletics checks, I guess.
So, may I, if I might, what you could also try is something a little more bossy. Because remember, your great coat grants you +1 to situations that apply to that. And a rogue trader making her way across the deck would most definitely command that kind of things. That's presence. You also have intimidating at 50.
Intimidation? Yeah, I think that would be intimidation in a way, right?
You'd also get, so you could apply your superiority, and you'd get a +10 for the modifier from your great coat.
Sorry, too many buttons.
That is
There we
okay.
go.
It's a lot of buttons to get through the.
So Octavia, what do you?
Out of my way, peasants!
Yeah. Everyone realizes what's going on, and she is. So that is scattered away. Why don't you give us an awareness check for free? At advantage.
Challenging spirit.
You can see precisely where he is. So then the last thing here is for him trying to... He is not aware of where you guys are. Why don't Icarus and... Ooh, one of you guys. Who wants to make the awareness check?
I am 46.
Yep, better than I am.
Yep, go for it.
So why don't you give us a awareness check with advantage, Icarus? I got 0 degrees of success. I know I say this all the time. I love the way that contested rolls were made in this. Like, it just, there's a clear outcome for each of them. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, you have your eye on the Xenos scum. So Noros does not see it right now. Icarus and Octavia, you can see where he is going, and we'll pick up in 2 weeks' time with that, hopefully with assistance from your Explorator as well.
Yeah.
And hold on, let's quickly check and see what kind of XP rewards you get, because we're gonna do that in this game. Experience, here we go. 90. Oh, I was reading Alien, the fantasy or Free League one again.
Oh, yeah.
I really like how XP works in that too. It's one of those like you have a conversation at the end of the session and figure out what you did and what you advanced. One of them is like, did you get paid? You get 1 XP if you got paid today. So being the trucker who's like, we need to revisit the bonus situation. Right. XP for that. Okay, so oh, that is how much you... It's not under the rewards. That is under what I was looking at a moment ago, where I'm at here. Okay. So I think because it is our inaugural session, guys, typically you're going to get between 50 and 80 XP. Why don't we go with 100 for today?
Oh,
you guys learned a lot about Footfall. You made some good friends, some enemies. Maybe some of those are the reverse of what you anticipate them to be, but in any event, we are officially back on Footfall. Okay, you guys can reset your fate points back up to the maximum too, because they will be at the cap at the start of next session. But that brings us to the close of our first session playing Imperium Maledictum. And I know I say this every time we play a 40K RPG. I really like this game, guys. This is a really fucking good game. So for those listening at home, we will be back on Footfall in the Cronus Expanse in 2 weeks' time. But in the interim, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion, depending on the interference in the warp for our astro paths. Sometimes that does come up. There's also a link down below in the description of this video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, and we have a channel there dedicated to Warhammer role-playing games in general, as well as most of the games we run on the channel, and there's a ton of other great channels like Finding a Group or GM Discussion or just general chatter. There's a ton of great people who have are part of the community, and you are more than welcome to join us over there. We've been running quite a bit of 40K games as of late, so we'll definitely have some. I don't know. Before we launch into things, what are you guys' impressions after? I mean, it's only one session and we haven't really had a proper combat yet. But how's the system feeling thus far?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, the advantage has been fun. The flip, I think, is a good mechanic. It's fun. A good, simple, effective advantage thing like that is good. I like it.
When I first
great.
Yeah, when I first read it, I was like, some of the stuff is just too, like, they've jettisoned some of the, the real meat of the 40K or the Warhammer 4th edition, Warhammer Fantasy 4th stuff. And then now that I'm running 4th, I'm like, I understand why you did. Warhammer Fantasy 4th is a great game, but it's just that complexity does slow things down to a degree. So in the interest of having a faster pace thing, I get why they would adopt this. And it's also a different game, than the other. I like the consolidated skills, like having a short skill list with the specializations. It's really fucking clever. You guys feel like, especially with some of you having like at least 1 or 2 skills in the like between 50 and 70, feels really more like omnicompetent than what I think a starting character. These are starting characters as well. These are created as if you were, you know, starting off fresh from the rule book.
Yep. Yeah. I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to getting my first. It's an interesting mechanic, the push mechanic, where you do it from the beginning, which is interesting. So when it's, you know, it's not a backup, it's right up front. You have to decide before you roll at all. Like it's not if you fail, you got to decide something's important enough to take on the extra. What's it called? Warp, right? Warp.
Oh, you mean for the psychic powers? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to be willing to take on the extra. I can't remember what it's called, but the warp. Oh, you know, the warp. I'm spacing, but you know
warp charge.
The warp charge. You have to be able to take on the warp charge. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that a shot pretty soon next session.
Yeah, I want to see you use some psychic powers.
It's going to be interesting.
However, Jeff and I will be standing at a distance when you do it.
No.
So
let's see how this works. We're behind this blast wall.
Whatever bad outcome we have on this, I don't think will be as bad as. Do you remember in Blackbirds when I think George caused someone else to pass out because he used magic, and magic can be so cruel in that system.
Nice.
Jeff, any thoughts?
Seem good so far. I don't know. I don't have a lot of thoughts so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you guys didn't get a chance to. It's difficult when you're reading the characters and thinking of like how that's going to play in a game you have yet to actually read or see the table.
Yeah, wait till I fire that las gun, then I'll tell you how I feel.
Well, I mean, it's right at your side.
Yeah, it's ready to go. Oh, stupid pistol.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Let's see, where was I? So there's a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. Not only do they have a great selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they also have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. If they do not have something in stock that is listed in their extensive catalog, you can put it on a want list, and they'll send you an email when it comes in, and then you can pick it up at your leisure. And if you do make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code MuserNight, all caps, all one word. It's listed in the description of the video, and you will save yourself 10% on your purchase. There's also a link down below to the something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages, the international charity, a really incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in a bunch of crisis areas right now, which you can learn all about by following that link. Any donations that are made through that link go directly to them. None of it comes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And as a small way of saying thank you to the generous donors, anyone who's donated $25 or more since January 1st, 2024 can head on over to the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server. Again, the link to that is in the description of the video. If you go to the Charity Initiatives channel, you still have 2 more days to cast your vote for what RPG we will be playing at our 2 Star Wars sessions on May 4th. May 4th, we'll be playing 2 different sessions of Star Wars. We currently have one that is going to be set in the Heir to the Empire era, with the heroes playing smugglers and ne'er-do-wells facing, I think it's the Hutts in that one. And then the other session will be clone troopers in the Rebellion era facing the Imperial military. We have 6 different options for what RPG we're going to use. So if you've donated money, $25 or more since then, head on over, cast your vote for that, and then you will also be able to vote on the charity sessions we'll be running in the second half of the year as well. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart. There's got to be a word. They don't call them explorers in this. What do they call it? Agents, I think.
Agents, yeah.
Agents is what they called it in
cannon fodder.
And what do you call it? Yeah, Wrath and Glory.
I think it's agents.
Is it agents in this as well? That would make sense.
I think so.
Yeah, patrons. Peon? Is that the no?
Hey.
It's a cannon for the death.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's agents.
I'm pretty sure it's agents.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'll look it up, but we'll say agents for now. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time to see what our heroes decide to do about this Xenos Skulker. Is he alone? Is he the only one? But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes are uncovering and the legacy of the Aquare dynasty and the Coronis Expanse. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.